Su Jinhuan was a beautiful girl, but her life was full of hardships. Her parents separated when she was young, and she had to endure the schemes and jealousy of her stepmother and half-sister. But on a drunken night, she lost control and had an affair with Huoliken, the heir of the whole group. From then on, their lives became inextricably entangled between budding feelings and unexpected schemes. Can they join hands to overcome the difficulties? A love story mixed with drama, sweetness, and many twists. Let's follow the Nezuko recap together. In the early morning, inside a luxurious hotel. The hotel room was a mess, with clothes scattered all over the floor. Jinhuan was still groaning groggily. My head hurt so much. Then she reached out to rub her aching temples. Suddenly, the sound of running water was heard. Jinhuan jumped in shock. Why is there? She sat up abruptly, a thought flashing through her mind. A man, Su Jinhuan, the eldest daughter of the Su family. In a daze, Jinhuan tried to recall her memories. What happened? I only remember. She tried hard to recall the events of last night. Last night, I was at a hotel for a classmate's birthday party, and I accidentally drank a glass of alcoholic juice. I'm a very poor drinker. A little alcohol gets me drunk. At that time, Jinhuan was staggering down the hotel corridor. Her whole body swayed as if she was about to fall at any moment. Suddenly, Jinhuan fell into the arms of a tall man. The other person said in a low voice, "Be careful." Under the influence of alcohol, Jinhuan looked up at the man blankly. "You're so handsome." Then she raised her hand to touch his body. "You have a great body." The man immediately warned, "Girl, you're playing with fire." At this moment, his shirt buttons were wide open, and Jinhuan pressed her leg tightly against him. He also cooperatively held her ankle gently. Suddenly, Jinhuan forcefully pulled off the man's tie. In an instant, she had the upper hand. Then Jinhuan gently caressed his abs. "Hey," his voice was a little rushed. "Do you know what you're doing?" The corner of her mouth lifted slightly as she replied, "Touching you. Can't you feel it?" As she spoke, Jinhuan kissed the man's lips without hesitation. In just a moment, the two were entangled. The other person had now taken the initiative, kissing deeper. "Girl, relax a little." The memory ended, and she rubbed her forehead helplessly. "Oh my God, I pounced on a man last night." Then Jinhuan reached for her underwear, thinking, "I have to get out of here quickly, or else." Suddenly, the door opened, and a person slowly walked out. She was so startled that she fell to the floor. After a moment, Jinhuan cautiously raised her head. With only a towel wrapped around his waist, he asked indifferently, "You're awake?" Huoliken, the heir of the Hua group. She immediately dove under the covers, her voice a little embarrassed. "Don't you come over." A short while later, Jinhuan got dressed before daring to crawl out from under the covers. She turned to look at Lycan, who was focused on something. Suddenly, he turned and glanced at Jinhuan. Then Lycan held up a check in front of her. "Your skills are terrible, but seeing as you pleased me for a night, this is your payment." Jinhuan was a little surprised by his words. Seeing her silence, Lycan frowned and asked, "Is it too little?" Suddenly, Jinhuan grabbed her bag from the table. She took out a coin and retorted his criticism. "Your skills are the ones that are terrible, leaving me with an aching back and leg cramps. But seeing as you kept me company for a night, this is the payment for sleeping with you." As she spoke, Jinhuan opened her hand, and the coin fell to the ground. Lycan looked at her, uncomprehending. Jinhuan ignored him and turned to leave proudly. She didn't forget to slam the door hard bang. As soon as she was out, she covered her face in embarrassment. "My first night is gone just like that, and I was even treated like a prostitute. Luckily, I'm not one to be trifled with." I talked back. Meanwhile, Lycan was still shocked by Jinhuan's behavior. He happily clenched the check, his tone somewhat expectant. "Girl, you successfully caught my attention." At this moment, Jinhuan was still blaming herself. "Drinking really messes things up, and I still have to go to the hospital today to pay for my brother's medicine." She walked absent-mindedly to another place. Suddenly, a loud voice echoed, "Su Jinhuan." Two hands quickly rushed over. The lake water immediately splashed up. She struggled to poke her head out of the water and asked angrily, "Who was that?" Jinhuan was on the shore, her arms crossed, looking smug as she said, "Sister, you're so careless. How did you fall into the lake?" She was Su Jinhuan, Su Jinhuan's half-sister. She continued to mock. "The water is cold down there. Hurry up and come out." As she spoke, she extended a hand to Jinhuan. "Sister, quickly grab my hand. I'll pull you up." She looked up at Jinhuan, who was smiling triumphantly. Jinhuan tidied her soaked hair and looked at her with cold eyes. Then she reached out and pulled hard on Jinhuan's arm. Immediately after, Jinhuan fell straight into the pool. Next, Jin Huan forcefully pushed her head into the water with her hand. Jin Huan struggled. Help! Finally, she smiled with satisfaction. Jin Huan grabbed her hair to pull her up, and she immediately screamed, "Ah!" Jin Huan looked at her in surprise, coughing, "Ah, cough, cough, cough." Jin Huan smiled happily and replied, "The feeling of your breath being taken away bit by bit, your lungs emptying, was it fun?" At this time, the people on the shore reacted. "Jin Huan, are you okay? Hurry up and come out." Just then, Jin Huan grabbed her hair from behind, and she immediately screamed, "Ah!" Jin Huan shouted loudly, "Su Jin Huan, what else are you trying to do?" "Cough, cough, cough." Jin Huan whispered in her ear, "Don't get so excited. I don't want to do anything. Just want to give you a warm reminder." She warned gently, "Don't play these childish and boring games anymore. In the future," as she said this, Jin Huan tightened her grip. "If there's a next time, my hand might not let go so quickly." Finally, she left with a triumphant smile. Jin Huan watched Jin Huan's back, cursing angrily. "Su Jin Huan, you just wait. I'm not done with you." The sun was already high in the sky, and Jin Huan was walking down the street, soaking wet. The people around focused their gazes on her. "Wow, so beautiful." As Jin Huan shivered from the cold, the chatter continued. "Is she an artist? So pretty." Jin Huan lamented. "So cold." Achoo! Suddenly, a coat was draped over her. Lycan appeared before her and said coldly, "If you want to be looked at by others, you can refuse my coat." Suddenly, he glanced down, and Jin Huan immediately panicked. Thank you for the coat. If we meet again, I'll return it to you." Suddenly, he offered, "Where are you going? I'll give you a ride." She felt confused, remembering the old incident. Last night, so embarrassing. Remembering the intimate scene between them, Jin Huan shyly refused. "Thank you, no need." She hurried away. "Goodbye, goodbye," but was grabbed by the arm. She was stunned by Lycan's action. Then he lifted her chin, making her heart race with shyness. What on earth does he want to do? He caressed Jin Huan's lips and said provocatively, "Your scent awakens my desires. I want to continue." She turned her head to avoid him, cursing inwardly. Damn it, a whole night wasn't enough for him. But on the surface, she still said politely, "Last night was because I was drunk. We are all adults. I won't take it to heart, and you shouldn't either. I think we shouldn't have any more contact, okay?" As she spoke, Jin Huan hurriedly pushed Lycan away. "I have something to do. I'll leave first. Goodbye." She turned around, cough. "I think it's best we don't see each other again." At this, Jin Huan ran off, leaving Lycan staring blankly at her back. Lycan crossed his arms, watching her figure, and smiled unconsciously. The Su family? What a coincidence. At this moment, Jin Huan was sitting in a taxi. She said anxiously, "Driver, to the central hospital." In her mind, she was trying to calm herself. "My heart is beating so fast. It's so embarrassing." A moment later, at the hospital, a voice rang out. "Miss, the balance in your bank card is insufficient. You can choose another payment method." Jin Huan was surprised to hear this. What? Impossible. She tried swiping it again. The cashier returned the card to her embarrassedly. "Miss, I'm very sorry. The balance in your bank card is indeed insufficient. Please check it carefully before coming back." Jin Huan took the card suspiciously. "Okay." She checked the card and then exclaimed in confusion, "Impossible." Jin Huan looked at the computer screen. Account balance information. Account balance 9 yuan 9 jiao. Available balance 9 yuan 9 jiao. Transfer/withdrawal. She recalled in confusion. When my grandfather passed away, he clearly set up a support fund for me, which would transfer living expenses to me every month. She began to worry in her heart. My brother's leukemia requires him to take medicine every day. Once he stops, the consequences will be unimaginable. Jin Huan couldn't bear it anymore, pursing her lips and frowning. "You people are challenging my bottom line." Meanwhile, in a large mansion, as soon as she entered, Jin Huan immediately asked, "Where's my dad?" The maid answered immediately, but hurriedly stopped her. "The master is entertaining a guest in the study, miss. Don't." Suddenly, someone appeared loudly. "Hey, stop." It turned out to be Mrs. Su Jin Huan's stepmother. She said arrogantly, "The master is talking business with a distinguished guest in the living room. Don't disturb him. Go back to your room." Jin Huan was immediately displeased and answered her firmly, "Get out of the way. I have something very important to see my dad about." Mrs. Su was not to be trifled with either, and immediately retorted, "No matter what it is, wait until the master comes out. Get lost. Don't stand here and be an embarrassment." Jin Huan was still very determined. "I'm going in. Can you stop me?" Provoked, Mrs. Su angrily wanted to get physical, cursing, You uncultured lowly thing, is this your attitude? But she easily caught her hand. Then she provoked, I dare you to hit me. Mrs. Sue, having been seen through, was exasperated. My God, you lowly thing, you'll be struck by lightning. What are you trying to do? Let go of me, let go of me. At this dramatic moment, someone came over and reprimanded. Don't you know there's a distinguished guest in the room? Then he came forward and scolded. What's all this noise about? What a disgrace. Su Jinxiong, Su Jinhuan's biological father. Seeing him, Mrs. Su pretended to be weak and fawning. Master, I told her you were entertaining a distinguished guest in the room, and she still insisted on barging in. Jinhuan stood opposite and said directly, Dad, did you stop the living expenses from the support fund? That's the money I used to treat my brother's illness. Hearing this, Su Jinxiong flew into a rage. That bastard child your mother had after remarrying. What does he have to do with me? You still want me to care if he lives or dies? And you've already graduated. You can support yourself. To motivate you to work hard and prevent you from losing your ambition in trivial pursuits, I've decided to temporarily stop your living expenses. Jinhuan said helplessly, I don't need you to care if he lives or dies. I just want what's rightfully mine. Qingwan walked over from a distance, looking gentle. What's wrong, sister? We have guests at home. If you make such a scene, people will see it, and it will bring shame to our Su family. Su Jinxiong agreed. Qingwan is still the sensible one. Then he began to persuade Su Jinhuan. Don't say any more. My mind is made up, and I won't change it. Starting this month, the support fund will stop paying your living expenses until you get married. Jinhuan was very upset to hear this. Dad, absolutely not. Suddenly, Qingwan tripped, and the coffee cup in her hand flew out. To Jinhuan's surprise, Qingwan showed a triumphant look. The coffee splashed directly on her, but luckily, she quickly pulled up her clothes to block it. Qingwan feigned remorse. Sister, I'm sorry. I slipped just now. It wasn't on purpose. Jinhuan frowned in disdain. Tisich. A voice rang out again from somewhere. Get the burn cream, quickly. She was surprised to hear this. Seeing Lycan appear, Jinhuan asked in confusion, Why are you here? He didn't answer and immediately grabbed her wrist. Lycan was a little angry at this moment. Didn't you hear? Burn cream. Lycan's gentleness made Jinhuan slightly stunned, thinking. At this time, Qingwan continued to say hypocritically, Sister, I'm sorry, I really didn't do it on purpose. Jinhuan pulled her hand out of Lycan's and said, Whether it was on purpose or not, only you know. Qingwan's eyes were teary as she feigned weakness and pleaded, Sister, I really didn't do it on purpose. If you don't believe me, you can hit me. Hearing this, Jinhuan slapped Qingwan hard across the face. Seeing this, Mrs. Su angrily cursed at Jinhuan. Are you crazy? Qingwan already apologized to you. She didn't do it on purpose, and you still hit her. Are you even human? Qingwan pretended to be pitiful and threw herself into her mother's arms, sobbing. Su Jinxiong also defended her. Jinhuan, you've gone too far. She retorted forcefully. She was the one who offered her face and asked me to hit it. I just granted her wish. Witnessing this scene, Lycan was secretly surprised by Jinhuan. This girl. At this time, Jinhuan tried to seek justice again. Dad, I really need this money. I don't want to fall out with you, but if necessary, I will involve the law. Hearing this, Mrs. Su pretended to cry. Master, look at the good daughter you've raised. She's going to sue you. Hearing this, Su Jinxiong cursed angrily. You unfilial daughter. I'm doing this for your own good. I'll have someone transfer this month's money to you. But from next month on, you must support yourself. After listening, Jinhuan took off her coat and said politely to Lycan, I'm sorry. I dirtied your coat. I'll wash it and return it to you. Then, her gaze swept slightly over Lycan's eyes. Flipping her long, curly hair, she walked away proudly. Seeing them talking, Su Jinxiong asked in confusion, Young Master Hua, do you know my daughter Jinhuan? He only replied with a vague but meaningful sentence. We're close. At this time, the servant had arrived. Young Master Hua, here's the burn cream you asked for. Then he turned to leave. Qingwan pursed her lips tightly, thinking jealously, Su Jinhuan, you bitch. She trembled with anger, thinking viciously. Don't think that just because you slept with young Master Hua, he's yours. Since we were young, I've never failed to get what I want. At this time, Jinhuan had returned to her room and gently closed the door. Suddenly, the door was stopped by a hand pushing hard against it. Seeing Lycan coming to her place, Jin Huan was slightly scared. What else do you want? He held up the medicine bottle in his hand and said, in your house. What else can I do? Jin Huan stepped back and held out her hand to Lycan. Just give me the burn cream. However, Lycan offered, I'll help you. She immediately refused. No. But suddenly, Lycan pinned her against the wall. Jin Huan looked up at him. Has anyone ever told you that you're very domineering? Lycan reached out to wrap his arm around her waist, then lowered his head and said softly, I am domineering, but depends on who it's for. Jin Huan turned her face away and sighed. It seems I'm just too unlucky. Lycan lifted her chin, his pupils still unwavering. You should say, this is your good fortune. Hearing this, Jin Huan was stunned. You. Then suddenly, Lycan picked her up, causing her to scream in panic. Put me down, you bastard. Put me down. Sunlight streamed into the room, and at this moment, Jin Huan was being forcefully held down on the bed by Lycan. She shouted angrily, what are you trying to do? He moved closer to her and said provocatively, what do you think I want to do? Jin Huan refused to give up and shouted angrily again, you bastard, don't mess around. I'll call the police. I won't be polite with you. Hearing this, Lycan just smiled faintly, Then his hand gently brushed over her arm, saying provocatively, I'm really looking forward to how you won't be polite with me. At this moment, Jin Huan's heart was beating wildly. Then Lycan turned and sat beside her, saying seriously, next time if anyone dares to do this to you again, I will never let that person go. Jin Huan was embarrassed at this moment, thinking, so it was just to apply medicine. I thought he wanted to do something to me again. Watching Lycan gently and meticulously apply the medicine, her heart pounded again. Jin Huan's cheeks flushed unconsciously as she thought, damn it, when this demon is serious, he's so handsome, it's infuriating to both gods and men. But at this moment, Qingwan was peeking from outside, both angry and jealous. Why is it young Master Hua again? I'm the one who should be his wife. After applying the medicine, Lycan gently caressed Jin Huan. You've been tired all night. You should sleep, get some rest. Hearing this, Jin Huan shyly avoided him. Don't say any more. Then Lycan said coldly, I have things to do at the company. I'll leave first. Jin Huan was waiting for this and happily agreed. Right. Work is more important. Lycan was puzzled by her happy reaction. This girl, seeing that Lycan had left, Jin Huan breathed a sigh of relief and sighed. Phew, he's finally gone. Suddenly, Lycan stopped in his tracks. Jin Huan turned around worriedly, thinking, why did he stop? Is there something else? He turned slightly and said, well, Lycan, that's my name. Hearing this, she was a little dazed. Well, Lycan, that name sounds familiar. Where have I heard it? A few seconds later, Jin Huan was shocked and screamed, well, Lycan, the man I slept with for a night, thinking he was a male escort. She leaned back on the bed, her whole body stiff. He's also the heir of the Hua group. Suddenly, her phone received a notification. Your bank account has just received 25,000 yuan. The current balance is 25,009.90 yuan. She looked at her phone with a worried expression. Luckily, the money came through, otherwise my brother would be done for. But what about next month's medical expenses? However, Jin Huan quickly cheered herself up again. You people just try to make things difficult for me. If you can't destroy me, you lose. Then she changed her clothes to go out, just as Su Jinxiong arrived. Jin Huan, you and young Master Hua? Jin Huan's mouth twitched slightly. Then she answered frankly, I have no relationship with him. If you're thinking of using me to get close to him, you can forget it. Hearing this, Su Jinxiong cursed angrily. How can you talk like that? I'm concerned about you. Jin Huan no longer maintained her politeness and retorted, your love for me is truly surprising. I thought the word concern didn't even exist in your dictionary. Su Jinxiong said uncomfortably, what kind of attitude is this? At the hospital, a voice rang out. Young Master Xiao Yuan's sister, there's a suitable bone marrow match for Xiao Yuan recently. The attending doctor announced, the surgery fee is 500,000. You can go home to raise the money, and the surgery can be arranged for next month. Hearing that huge sum, Jin Huan was a little sad. I'll go home and discuss it with my family. Jin Huan stood outside the hospital room, choking up Xiao Yuan. Her face couldn't hide her worry. I will definitely find a way to raise the surgery fee for you. It won't be long before you can recover. Xiao Yuan, just wait a little longer. Then Jin Huan took a deep breath and took out her phone to dial a number. Phew! As soon as the call connected, Jin Huan said, Wan, Help me find a blind date, the kind who's in a hurry to get married. After we meet, we can go register for marriage right away. She thought to herself, doesn't Su Jinxiong want me to get married? Before I hand over my grandfather's inheritance to me, I'll get married right away to show him. 3 days later, she was drinking water when someone called her. Miss Su, hello. The other party introduced himself as soon as he arrived. I'm Yang Zifeng. This is Su Jinhuan's blind date. Jinhuan replied politely. Brother Yang, hello. The other party sat down opposite her frankly and praised. You're even more beautiful in person than the photo. Your skin is so fair, you're really my type. During this time, Lycan was also at the cafe, sitting behind and listening to everything quietly. He said, Miss Su, you have a great figure, even more beautiful than those famous stars. Jinhuan didn't care and got straight to the point. Brother Yang, you should be very clear about my requirements. Zifeng adjusted his glasses very confidently and declared, I have a house. You won't lose out by marrying me, but you have to support my career. I heard your dowry is shares in our company. I hope you can invest that money in my business. Hearing his words, she was speechless. Jinhuan frowned uncomfortably, but he continued, my parents have no income now. I hope the money from your alimony will be enough for their retirement. My car is a bit outdated. Your family is so rich, it would be best to provide a car as part of the dowry. It doesn't have to be too expensive. Around 1 million will do. She asked directly, do you have any other requests? Zepping immediately rattled off a string of words. Our family is quite traditional, so I hope we can have at least 2 sons. Jinhuan wanted to know, what if we have several children and they are all girls? Hearing this, Li Ju stood up uncomfortably. His words continued as he confidently approached, echoing Zifeng's sentiment. Then naturally, we must keep trying. The Yang family line cannot end with our generation. At the same time, he was also getting closer. Jinhuan couldn't take it anymore, stood up, slammed the table, and cursed. What do you take me for? A sow? After a few peanuts, you're here, spouting nonsense. Get out. Suddenly, she caught sight of Li Ju's arrival, which startled her. Damn it, what is he doing here? How much of what Yang said did he hear? After that, Jinhuan became very embarrassed, wanted to find a hole to crawl into and disappear. Li Ju suddenly stroked her head gently. Darling, what a coincidence. Do you mind if I sit next to you? That sentence made Jinhuan immediately spit out her coffee. Facing the man opposite, Jinhuan quickly apologized. Ahem, I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Zifeng, with coffee splattered on his face, was extremely displeased. You are so rude. Who is this man? What is your relationship? Why did he call you darling? Li Ju just smiled, while Jinhuan retorted irritably, I don't know him. He angrily grabbed a napkin to wipe his face. Suddenly, he looked at Li Ju and recognized him. Young Master Hua? Seeing this, Zifeng immediately changed his attitude and stood up amicably. So it's you, hello? My name is Zifeng. I had the honor of meeting you at Tang's birthday party a year ago. I greatly admire your business acumen and hope you can give me some pointers. Li Ju couldn't be bothered and ignored his outstretched hand. He politely pulled out a chair for Li Ju and said respectfully, Oh, look at me, young Master Hua. Please sit down. Afterward, Zifeng was all smiles. Waiter, another glass of water. With Li Ju present, he turned to Jinhuan and said fawningly, Miss Su, so you are a friend of young Master Hua. Your friends are my friends. However, Jinhuan was not happy at all. Under the table, Li Ju's leg was rubbing against Jinhuan's, making her very uncomfortable. What the hell is this Li Ju up to? He said with a domineering air, You're interesting. Our relationship is so intimate, much more than just friends. Hearing this, Zifeng interjected, That's great. Miss Su, I'm very satisfied with you. I can agree to your request and register for marriage immediately. This time, Li Ju kicked Jinhuan's leg hard again. This made her stand up in anger, slam the table, and shout, Shameless. Zifeng thought Jinhuan was scolding him and explained, Miss Su, I sincerely want to marry you. I'm not a hooligan. I forgive your rude words and actions. Hearing this, Jinhuan retorted, You're sincere? Before we're even married, you're already eyeing my family's assets, wanting me to support your parents, and wanting me to get you a new car. You're treating me like a baby-making machine. Hearing her next words, he smiled with satisfaction that if you want to leech off a rich woman, go find one. This lady isn't playing along. Then Jinhuan concluded, Disappear from my sight. She cursed unhappily. Get out of the way. Zifeng began to persuade her with hypocritical reasons. Miss Su, this is an era of equality between men and women. You want to marry me, but contribute nothing, just wanting to use me as an ATM. With that flat chest of yours, even if you offered money, I wouldn't be interested. You deserve to be unmarriageable. Hearing these words, Jinhuan couldn't hold back any longer and threw the entire cup of coffee at him. Did you study under Erlingshin? Why are you barking like a dog? A good dog doesn't block the way. Ziefeng cursed unhappily. Bitch, you dare to call me a dog in front of everyone. She left in a rage, telling him, don't just say I cursed you in front of others. If you didn't hear it clearly, I can also carve it on your tombstone for you. It's such bad luck to meet someone as uncultured as you. Hearing this, Ziefeng roared, stop. This suit cost me tens of thousands. You can leave after you compensate me for my clothes. Jinhuan had just reached the door and found it ridiculous. How about I compensate you with your life? You psycho. He still tried to grab her. Stop, hey. At that moment, Chenlai walked over. Patting Ziefeng's shoulder, he threatened in a low voice. How many lives do you have, daring to curse my woman? Hearing this, he was shocked. What? She is your woman? Young Master Hua, I didn't know she was your woman. Please forgive me. It hurts so much. He frowned and warned him. If you dare to curse her one more time, I'll chop off your head. Do you hear me? Then Li Ju pushed Ziefeng to the ground. He could only admit his mistake. I won't dare to do it again. Then he was painfully pushed to the ground by Chenlai. Outside, Jinhuan said reproachfully, Muanyu, how could you introduce me to such an uncultured person? She was a little unhappy. You're trying to harm me, pushing me into a pit of fire. Muanyu on the other end of the phone explained pitifully, your requirements are too specific. There aren't many men who would agree to register for marriage immediately upon meeting. I'll help you ask my aunt to see if there are any suitable men among her blind dates. Hearing this, Jinhuan confided sadly, if I weren't at my wit's end, I wouldn't be gambling with my own marriage. Muanyu also comforted her. I understand. I've saved 50,000 yuan by scrimping and saving over the years. Let me know whenever you need it. Jinhuan was a little moved again. Muanyu, thank you. After speaking, she pressed the hang-up button. Jinhuan walked on, turning into a small alley. Suddenly, she felt something was wrong. Someone is following me. Jinhuan started to get nervous. Could be a robbery? Thinking of this, Jinhuan clutched her bag tightly. Immediately after, she mustered all her courage, grabbed her bag, and turned to hit the person. What are you trying to do? Jinhuan's hand, still suspended in mid-air, was suddenly caught. It turned out that the person following her was Li Ju. He approached her again. A night as a couple means 100 days of grace. Is this how you treat your man? Jinhuan exclaimed in surprise. Who? Li Ju. She was both angry and embarrassed, cursing. Are you sick? Why are you following me like a ghost? What are you trying to do? Contrary to Jinhuan's panic, Li Ju said softly, I've had insomnia for the past 3 days. Hearing this, Jinhuan was confused. What does your insomnia have to do with me? This time, Li Ju cornered Jinhuan even closer. Of course it has to do with you. You caused it, and I have to demand compensation from you. Jinhuan turned her face away to avoid him. You hooligan, you scoundrel. But he lifted her chin. Then Li Ju planted a kiss on her lips, making her heart race. Jinhuan panicked inwardly. Here I am. Li Ju took her hand and placed it on his left chest. Her mind was now in a mess. His domineering aura made it impossible for me to breathe. Jinhuan wrapped her arms around his neck and enjoyed it. His kiss was like an addictive, sweet poison, making it impossible for me to escape. The lips of the two intertwined. Suddenly, a passing child saw this scene and asked curiously, Mom, look, what are that uncle and auntie doing? The mother explained gently, Don't look, it's just monsters fighting. Hearing this, the child said excitedly, Is it fun when monsters fight? Do Mom and Dad also like it when monsters fight? The mother was stumped and a little embarrassed. Don't say any more, let's go. At this moment, Jinhuan shyly pushed him away gently, thinking, so embarrassing, this person is really endless. Afterward, she used all her strength to push Li Ju away. I can't push him away at all. Jinhuan couldn't take it anymore and bit his lip. He frowned uncomfortably in pain. Jinhuan wiped her mouth and said angrily, Well, Li Ju, you hooligan. Li Ju reached out to grab her hand. However, Jinhuan quickly pulled her hand back. Then she quickly ran away. Scoundrel! He reached up and touched his lips, watching her retreating figure. Su Jinhuan, Li Ju's lip was bitten, but he was still very happy. You are the woman I have my eyes on. Li Ju put his hands in his pockets and said confidently, do you think you can escape? At the New Year's Eve nightclub, a colleague's voice gently called her back. Xiaosu, room 606 needs wine. Hurry up and deliver it, Sister He. He also thoughtfully and carefully instructed Jinhuan. They're all rich people inside. If you serve them well, you will definitely get a lot of tips. She smiled and nodded. Yes, thank you, Sister He. She happily carried the wine tray. Sister He is so nice. She knows I have to work at the nightclub to earn money for my younger brother, so she often looks out for me. A knock on the door was accompanied by a greeting. Hello, your wine has arrived. As soon as the door opened, loud music and laughter filled the air. Jinhuan smelled the odor from in there and coughed lightly. The smell of medicine and alcohol is too strong. She slowly walked to the table and placed the 2 bottles of wine neatly. I should quickly put down the wine and get out of here. Suddenly, an arm wrapped around Jinhuan's waist. It scared her so much that she jumped and bumped into the man behind her. He was very arrogant and immediately looked for trouble. Are you new here? Don't you know the rules? Don't you want to work here anymore? Jinhuan leaned against the wall and quickly apologized. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I apologize to you. I'm sorry. In her heart, Jinhuan hoped he would soften his tone. I can't let him blow this out of proportion. Just then, a sharp-tongued girl interjected. Wow, who does she think young Master Chu is? Qingwan walked up to him and added fuel to the fire. Do you think a casual apology is enough? She recognized her. It was Su Qingwan. Jinhuan frowned unhappily. She's here too. She had to step forward to mediate. Sir, what do you want? Then young Master Chu smiled contemptuously. What do I want? He took out a stack of money from his pocket, then threw it into the air, forcing Jinhuan to do as he said. My money accidentally fell. You have to help me pick it up, one by one. She glanced resentfully at the money that had fallen in front of her. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving this door. Qingwan didn't let the opportunity pass either, deliberately making things difficult for Jinhuan. You can't use your hands to pick it up. Kneel on the ground like a dog, gnawing on a bone, and pick it up with your mouth one by one. The people around also chimed in. Yes, yes, good idea. Young Master Chu and Qingwan still have the best ideas. Hurry up and kneel down. Pick up the money with your mouth. She smiled contemptuously and took out her phone to record this moment. Bitch, you have your day too. She had her own calculations in mind. I have to record your ugly state and send it to Li Ju to see if he still wants to bother with you. Jinhuan frowned, trying to figure out a way to escape. It seems that if I don't do this tonight, I won't be able to get out of here in one piece. She suddenly snatched Qingwan's phone, who only had time to shout, on my phone. Jinhuan threatened loudly. Don't you dare come over, or I'll call the police immediately. Qingwan cursed. Bitch, give me back my phone. She thought to herself, Su Qingwan holding her phone reminded me. If I encounter a dangerous situation, the first thing to do is call the police. Then she smashed a wine bottle. Whoever dares to come over, I'll use this to cut your throat. Everyone around became nervous, and no one dared to speak. Her face became sharp, holding the broken bottle forward. You are all noble young masters and ladies. I only have one poor life. I'm not afraid of death. If you don't believe me, just try. She looked at them coldly. Jinhuan spoke loudly, but her legs were already unconsciously retreating. She's just talking. She wouldn't dare. Everyone, grab her quickly, beat her to death. Jinhuan sneered and dialed a number on her phone. Oh, you think I don't dare? Then come over. 110. I don't want to hurt anyone. If you have the guts, come over. Young Master Chu was terrified, grabbed her wrist, and pushed her forward. Su Qingwan, you're the loudest. You go and snatch the phone back. She cried out in panic. No. Hearing this, he angrily slapped Qingwan, causing her to fall to the ground. Useless thing. Young Master Chu turned around and raised his middle finger. Not a single one is useful. Then he had to curse at her. You've got guts. Don't let me run into you again. The one surnamed Chu left with a group of people. Let's go. She lay motionless on the floor, her hair disheveled, only twitching when she called out, Hey, Su Qingwan. Jinhuan glanced at her contemptuously and threw the phone back. Here's her phone back. Scram. Keep playing with these rich young masters, and sooner or later, something will happen. Qingwan clutched one side of her face and said angrily, Su Jinhuan, don't be so smug. Sooner or later, I will make you see me in a new light. She couldn't be bothered to deal with her. I'll be waiting. She slammed the door shut and left. When Qingwan was gone, Jinhuan collapsed into a chair. She breathed a sigh of relief, still shaken by the memory. Jinhuan tried to adjust her emotions, thinking, They're all powerful people. I will definitely be at a disadvantage when I go back. I should still tell sister he. I must have caused her trouble again. The door to the private room suddenly opened again, and she frowned as she looked out. It turned out to be Li Ju, who walked in brazenly. Jin Huan's eyes widened in surprise. Li Ju? She suddenly stood up, bewildered. Why do I always run into him when I'm at my most pathetic? It's truly an ill-fated connection. He said nothing and approached Jin Huan, so close that she was forced to sit down in the chair. Jin Huan asked in a panic, "What are you trying to do?" Li Ju said softly, "Be good, let me see." He gently touched her face with concern. "Why must you work in such a dangerous place?" Under his gentleness, Jin Huan replied, "If it weren't for the lack of money, who would want to work in a place like this?" Hearing this, Li Ju put his arm around her waist, sighed, and asked, "Why don't you accept my money if you're short of it?" She hit him and shouted loudly, "What do you take me for? A prostitute?" He was stunned, not knowing what to say next, and denied it inwardly. Of course not, but Li Ju looked directly into Jin Huan's eyes. "If I can conquer you in that way." After thinking for a moment, he said, "Then let's make a deal." Li Ju tilted his head and smiled. "Name your price and accompany me for a month." Hearing this, Jin Huan clenched her fists in anger. "What do you mean? You want to buy me like I'm your possession?" Seeing her anger, he immediately wiped the frivolity from his face and said seriously, "You need money, and I need you. You treat me as your material need, and I treat you as my physiological need. What's so inappropriate about that?" He thought to himself, "I can't be controlled by this girl. Just for a month, I'll definitely get tired of it." Deceiving himself so as not to be stirred up by her again. Her self-esteem trampled, Jin Huan cursed angrily, "In the eyes of you rich people." Her voice grew louder. "Do you think you can buy anything as long as you have money?" After speaking, seeing Li Ju stunned, she asked softly, "Isn't that so?" Even after being scolded to his face, he only found it interesting. Even her anger is so full of personality. I must be crazy. Seeing Li Ju dazed, Jin Huan swung her hand and slapped him hard. Li Ju's face darkened as he touched his aching cheek. At this moment, Jin Huan suddenly sobered up, realizing she had been too angry and had lost her senses. However, she proudly raised her head. "I will not apologize." He lifted her chin, and Li Ju gritted his teeth and said word by word, "Are you looking to die?" Then he turned and shouted, "Get out of here immediately." Jin Huan quickly left, secretly relieved. That scared me to death. She walked down the stairs, patting her chest to catch her breath. I was so angry, just now my head was spinning. Jin Huan's sadness had not yet subsided. But who let him insult her character? If the hit was hard, it was hard. I don't care anymore. Continuing to work at the bar. Oh, she was tidying up at the bar, listening to two girls talking. Young Master Hua has finally broken his abstinence. It's so exciting. Isn't young Master Hua celibate? Will he be interested in women? Finally, she couldn't help but ask curiously, "What are you talking about?" A female colleague narrated, "Don't you know?" Young Master Hua asked the manager to find 10 hot girls for his pleasure. She asked again, "Which young Master Hua?" She said calmly, "Hua Li Ju." The name was like a bolt from the blue for Jin Huan. Hua Li Ju. Seeing her pale face, the female colleague patted her shoulder and teased, "Is Xiao Su unhappy because she wasn't chosen?" "It's okay. This time he's looking for 10 people. Next time it might be 20. With your fresh figure, you'll definitely be chosen." Jin Huan frowned and stepped back to avoid her hand. Even if all the men in the world were dead, I wouldn't like him. Disgusting. After speaking, she left. The two female colleagues whispered to each other, "What's wrong with her? Sour grapes. Maybe she's just too embarrassed. Don't mind her." She gripped the bottle in her hand tightly. Disgusting. Jin Huan affirmed to herself, "I knew no man was a good thing." Suddenly, her eyes widened. Oh. In front of her was a familiar figure, supporting a strange man into an office, S.U. Qingwan. Then Jin Huan's gaze shifted to the drunk man. This man? Jin Huan vaguely found him familiar. I seem to have seen him somewhere. In the brightly lit hotel room, Xiao Xuan was placed on the bed by Qing Wan. Groaning, "MMM." She panted and complained, "What kind of build is this, so heavy?" He reeked of alcohol and was still muttering, "Drink. I want a drink." Qing Wan was rummaging through Xiao Xuan's wallet this time. "Young master, don't be anxious. Let me take a look first." She pulled out a personal ID card from the wallet. "Even if you're not the master." Qing Wan giggled smugly, "But it will definitely be useful to me in the future. Heaven is really helping me." Suddenly, a piece of paper fell out. Oh, she picked it up and frowned. Receipt for successful bone marrow donation. So kind-hearted, even donating bone marrow. But isn't this the hospital where that little brat is? A flash of discomfort crossed Jin Hwan's face. That bitch isn't afraid of retribution, coming to this kind of nightclub to earn money. Could it be that the little brat needs surgery? It can't be such a coincidence. Qinghwan tossed the wallet aside. I'll ask someone when I get back. Then she turned her face towards the bed. Then Qinghwan climbed onto the bed. On the other side, Jin Hwan sighed wearily and leaned against the wall. So tired, but for Xiao Yuan, I must work hard. At this moment, Sister He came over with a slip. Xiao Su, I'll give you this next. The order is all written down. She glanced at it and her eyes immediately widened. Young master, who wants me to deliver it? Jin Hwan pursed her lips, secretly expressing her sorrow. I'm clearly trying desperately to escape him, but in the end, I still have to go to him. Thinking, she tried to slip away. Sister Jean, I'm sorry. I just made 10 deliveries. My legs are sore. I want to rest for a while. Please find someone else to deliver it. She was very dramatic in her heart. I don't want to see him with other girls. But her scheme failed. Sister, he pushed her firmly. Oh, I know you've worked hard, but young master who only specified you for the delivery. He is our VIP. We can't afford to offend him. You should go quickly. After this delivery, you can rest leisurely. She did not repeat her decisiveness. Wait, But before Jin Hwan could finish, she continued impatiently. All right, go quickly. She could only sigh and accept her fate. It's over. Less trouble. Jin Hwan had only one goal, to earn money more urgently. She thought to herself, in my eyes, as long as I work hard to earn money, everyone is an ordinary person. This is my job. It's not scary to open the door and walk into his room. Unexpectedly, a hand grabbed Jin Hwan forcefully, startling her. A tall man held Jin Hwan tightly in his arms. She struggled violently. What are you trying to do? Let go of me. He slapped Jin Hwan hard, his tone contemptuous. Damn woman, let's see how arrogant you can be now. I have to let you know how formidable this young master is. The slap made Jin Hwan dizzy and she fell to the ground. Young Master Chu licked his lips arrogantly and walked towards her while unbuttoning his shirt. Will you be obedient this time? Jin Hwan's legs went weak and she could only crawl on the ground. Help, help. He roared, bitch. Young Master Chu's face darkened and he grabbed her hair, pulling it back. You made me lose face in front of so many people. You're dead tonight. The pain made Jin Hwan's face darken and she gritted her teeth unwillingly. No, she immediately elbowed him. Get lost. Young Master Chu swung his hand and hit Jin Hwan, throwing her to the ground. You bitch, it's your blessing that this young master has taken a fancy to you and you still dare to resist. She struggled to sit up, thinking of a way to deal with the situation. Well, I absolutely cannot be ruined by this scumbag. While he wasn't paying attention, Jin Hwan picked up the ashtray. At the same time, he squatted down in front of her. No woman this young master has his eyes on has ever gotten away. If you don't obey, you're in for a world of hurt. Seizing the opportunity, Jin Hwan smashed the ashtray on young Master Chu's head. Get lost. He clutched his forehead in pain and roared, ah. She took the chance to escape. I have to run now. However, young Master Chu quickly grabbed Jin Hwan's leg. His forehead was bleeding and his eyes were bloodshot. No one has ever dared to hit me, you bitch. He held Jin Hwan tightly, a flash of greed in his eyes. I won't let you go. Immediately, she kneed him hard in his lower body. Young Master Chu rolled on the ground in pain. Jin Hwan pointed at his face and cursed. I told you to let go. Didn't you hear me? Didn't your mother teach you to respect women? I'll teach you a lesson on your mother's behalf, you ill-mannered idiot. You think you're so great because you're rich. She kicked young Master Chu's lower body a few more times to vent her anger. You think you can bully and trample on others just because you're rich. He was being straddled and beaten, shouting, stop, stop hitting me. Jin Hwan's voice grew louder. When I said no, did you stop? As she spoke, she continued to stomp on his lower body. You scumbag, you piece of trash. Young Master Chu screamed miserably. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came from a distance. Jin Hwan realized someone was coming and that she had to get out of there. The voices of his subordinates came from behind. Young master, what happened to you? He roared. It was that bitch. Hurry up and bring her back to me. She ran away quickly. I'm done for. Jin Hwan looked around, trying to find a safe place. I have to find a place to hide first. Seeing the person in front of her, her eyes immediately widened in surprise. Good heavens, what a small world. He said nothing, just pulled Jin Hwan over and held her tightly. The next second, before she could react, Huoli Chun bent down and kissed her on the lips. Jin Huan was stunned. The sound of their contact sounded very intimate. She recoiled slightly, her cheeks flushed. You, Huo Li Chun interrupted her. Don't move, or I'll hand you over to them. Jin Huan cursed, her eyes darting away. Shameless, taking advantage of my predicament again. Taking advantage of me at a time like this. Young Master Chu's men had already caught up. Su Hinwan, Huo Li Chun held her in his arms, his gaze as sharp as a knife, and glanced at the two of them. Scram! In the face of his aura, the two of them obediently and quickly left. Young Master Hua, we're sorry. We didn't know young Master Hua was here. Sorry to disturb you. We'll leave right away. Jin Huan kept pounding on Hua Li Chun's chest. Hey, Huo Li Chun, aren't you going to let me go? They're already gone. Huo Li Chun grabbed her hand and chided her dotingly. You're so ungrateful, kicking me to the curb after I've served my purpose. Her shoulders trembled, and all the humiliation of the day seemed to erupt. You're all in this together, bullying people with your money and power. Her tears slid down her cheeks, surprising Huo Li Chun. You're crying? Jin Huan said nothing, just brushed past his shoulder. His heart felt heavy, and he softly comforted her. You're crying? She left quickly, leaving Huo Li Chun standing there, watching her back. On the other side, Chu Zhao's group was twisting the truth and making false accusations. Your nightclub's waitress, Su Jin Huan, injured our young Master Xiao. Our Chu family will settle this score with you slowly. The manager tried to explain. There must be some misunderstanding. How could a weak woman like Jin Huan seriously injure Chu Xiao? One of them threatened aggressively. Misunderstanding? Our young Master Zhao's head is bleeding. Can you bear the consequences? You have 3 days to hand over that bitch, or we'll have you shut down. Let's go. Seeing the situation getting more chaotic, the manager turned to his staff and ordered, quick, go find Su Jin Huan for me, even if you have to turn the whole nightclub upside down to find her. Go, go, go. Yes. Jin Huan was hiding in the restroom, trying to calm down. She didn't expect a man like Huo Li Chun to be afraid of her tears. She looked at herself in the mirror, lost in thought. But why did I suddenly become so vulnerable in front of that person? She had never felt this way before. What's wrong with me? As she was fixing her makeup, a few women suddenly came in. One of them said indignantly, I'm so mad. Such a good opportunity, and we were kicked out before we could even touch his clothes. What a waste of a trip, a huge loss. The girl next to her chimed in, young Master Hua's self-control is really... Hearing this, Jin Huan was stunned. They were the girls chosen to serve Huo Li Chun. As expected, they were all very beautiful. Huo Li Chun wasn't interested in them. Doesn't that prove that he's actually... Realizing she was getting ahead of herself, she immediately snapped back to reality. Wait, what am I thinking? Huo Li Chun is a very dangerous man, and he even made the unreasonable demand to keep me as his mistress. She pursed her lips, feeling confused. That kind of man has no heart. He just sees her as a toy to be thrown away after he gets tired of it. Why was I secretly happy just now? Jin Huan capped her lipstick. In her eyes, there was only resentment for Huo Li Chun. Stop overthinking it. He's just a scumbag. Then she turned around and interrupted their conversation. You girls went to seduce him, and he didn't touch any of you. Don't you think? Jin Huan smiled smugly. It's not that he has strong self-control. It's that he can't perform at all. The girls were stunned by her words. Jin Huan pretended to cough awkwardly and turned to leave. Cough, cough. You all continue chatting. I'll be leaving first. As soon as she stepped out, she ran into someone who gave her a huge shock, Huo Li Chun. Jin Huan's mouth fell open in surprise. What's he doing here? You shouldn't have heard that, right? She tried to compose herself and said, I'm going to work. Please let me pass. Suddenly, he reached out and lifted Jin Huan's chin. I can't perform. Huo Li Chun stared at her, thinking, it seems I was too gentle with her that night, which made her dare to spread rumors about me so openly. Jin Huan forced a smile, waving her hands to explain, young Master Hua is handsome and dashing, more virile than anyone. How could you possibly not be able to perform? This is just a misunderstanding, a pure misunderstanding. She regretted it deeply in her heart. If she had known the retribution for her loose tongue would come so quickly, she wouldn't have said it. He teased her deliberately. Is that so? At this moment, the people looking for Jin Huan were searching everywhere. Where is she? Not here. Let's check over there. Huo Li Chun immediately pulled Jin Huan into his arms. She looked up at him blankly. You. He tried to protect Jin Huan, whispering, Sho, I don't want to hurt you. If you don't want to be caught, don't move. She tilted her head and looked around. It was the nightclub security. The Chu family was still looking for her. Jean Huan said worriedly, "The nightclub security is trying to catch me." Huoli Chun ordered her, "Don't talk, come with me." The manager saw her being protected by him and exclaimed in surprise, "Young Master Hua and Miss Su." He said anxiously, "Young Master Hua, what kind of girl can't you have? Su Jin Huan is my subordinate, and she's caused trouble." He was extremely flustered. Su Jin Huan is young Master Hua's person? What's going on? He couldn't afford to offend young Master Hua for the sake of young Master Chu. "I'm just an employee. Please let me go." Huoli Chun frowned in displeasure. "What do you mean? Do I need your permission to take someone away?" The manager hurriedly explained in a panic, "I wouldn't dare. It's just that young Master Chu specifically asked for this woman. If you take her away, we really can't explain it. Young Master Hua, please be magnanimous and help us out." Seeing the matter escalating, Jean Huan panicked. It seems the incident with young Master Chu is a big deal, and the manager wants to hand her over to quell the trouble. She stated calmly, "Manager, young Master Chu made a move on me first. I was just acting in self-defense." Someone rushed over from behind, shouting, "Little Sue, manager's sisters." He and two other colleagues spoke up for Jean Huan. "Manager, that Chu Xiao is a pervert. He relies on his family's wealth and has no respect for us. That's right, he's always torturing people and doesn't treat us like human beings." She took a step forward and said, "Manager, you heard them. He's a habitual offender." Jean Huan spoke everyone's mind. "We're just service staff, but we also earn our wages through our own efforts. Do we deserve to be humiliated? Sisters, am I right? Sisters." He continued, "That's right. Manager, I don't agree with you handing little Sue over to him. It's too inhumane." The two girls beside him also spoke up, "We don't agree either." Huoli Chun gave her a surprised look, as if he was seeing Jean Huan in a different light, sparkling. This girl was definitely not a delicate little flower. She wouldn't let herself be at a disadvantage under any circumstances. At this point, she said firmly, "Manager, you should be on our side." He took out his phone and typed something. "Since that's the case, I'll help you one more time." Hearing this, the manager angrily reprimanded everyone. "Are you trying to anger me to death? Are you rebelling? Young Master Chu is a prominent figure in the city. If we don't hand her over, the nightclub will suffer. Then you'll all lose your jobs." These words silenced everyone. The manager was right. Jean Huan fell silent, lost in thought. If she didn't turn herself in, many people would lose their jobs. Did she really have to fight that scumbag to exhaustion? The silence was broken by Li Chen's sudden words. "A mere Chu family has you all scared like stray dogs. How useless. I just invested in this nightclub. I am now the biggest shareholder here." He said sternly to the manager, "If he wants the person, tell him to come and ask me for her himself." The two girls beside him immediately expressed their admiration. "Wow, he invested directly. Young Master Hua is so cool. With young Master Hua backing us, let's see who dares to touch a single hair on the nightclub." Miss Su doesn't have to worry anymore. Seeing his actions, her heart beat a little faster than usual. She thought to herself, what does he mean by this? It can't be because of me, can it? Thinking of this, Jean Huan waved her hands. No, Su Jean Huan, you can't be so conceited. He must be doing it for his own pride. Don't overthink it. Then she turned to Huoli Chun. But this Huoli Chun, this guy is still more arrogant after all. He said with some impatience, I don't have time to waste here. If that guy's surnamed Chu has any more problems, tell him to find me at the Hua family residence. Huoli Chun then left. At that moment, everyone cheered happily. That's great. We don't have to be afraid of Chu Zhao's dirty hands anymore. The manager commanded in a panic. That's enough. Stop going crazy. Get back to your posts. After observing silently for a moment, she decided to leave. The manager saw her and asked, Su Jean Huan, where are you going? Jean Huan replied hurriedly, I'm just stepping out for a bit. I'll be right back to work. In the parking lot, Jean Huan chased him to the underground parking lot. At this time, Huoli Chun was about to get into his car. She shouted loudly, Huoli Chun. Although she could no longer see him, she still called out politely, Thank you. Hearing the voice, he glanced at her faintly. The corners of Li Chen's mouth lifted slightly. Then he closed the car door and ordered drive. Jean Huan stood silently, watching Li Chen's car leave, her heart filled with gratitude. If he hadn't protected her, she would have been in big trouble this time. She smiled happily. Anyway, thank you, Huoli Chun. The car suddenly stopped. That girl just now was very beautiful. Angie was confused about Jean Huan's identity, but she was wearing a waitress uniform. He leaned back and handed a file to Huoli Chun. Young Master Chun, Madam asked me to postpone your meeting tomorrow afternoon. She said that the Lin family's young lady who studied abroad has returned and will be visiting the Hua family tomorrow afternoon. He reached out to take the file and asked Angio, tell her the meeting is important and cannot be postponed. Then Huoli Chun commented while flipping through the file, she really has too much free time, trying all sorts of ways to arrange blind dates for me. He said worriedly, young master, you can cancel once, but you can't cancel forever. He sighed silently in his heart. She's making me cancel again. Every time I handle these things, Madam scolds me. I'm stuck between this mother and son like a sandwich panel. Angie's words were not without reason. Huoli Chun fell silent in thought. His mind was filled with thoughts about his life. Suddenly, a phone rang, interrupting him. Young master. She wanted to persuade him. You're not young anymore, and Madam wants to have a grandchild. Why don't you just go along with her wishes and find a girl of equal social standing? Before he could finish, Huoli Chun slammed the file down with a bang and replied coldly, I am not her stud horse for carrying on the family line. Huoli Chun frowned sarcastically. After breeding, she still wants someone of equal social standing. Seeing Huoli Chun's serious expression, Angie's face turned pale. He cried out in his heart, I really should have kept my mouth shut. Suddenly, Huoli Chun propped up his chin and ordered, by the way, little Lin, help me investigate someone. Su Jin Huan. Cut to another scene. Clothes are scattered on the floor. Little uncle was still asleep when he was awakened by the sound of crying. He rubbed his eyes uncomfortably and woke up. He suddenly realized the sobbing was coming from right beside him. Ching Wan was trembling, wrapped in a blanket and sobbing. Little uncle sat up in shock and asked, who are you? Last night He tried hard to recall what happened last night, confused. What happened? I only remember drinking a lot at the nightclub last night. I was too drunk. Qingwan looked weak and said, last night was my first time. My family is very strict. If my dad finds out, he'll definitely beat me to death. Faced with Qingwan's delicate and pitiful appearance, little uncle suddenly blushed. He felt sorry for Qingwan's grievance, and his heart pounded with excitement. Then little uncle took her hand. I'm sorry. He made up his mind to take responsibility. I'm sorry about last night. I will take responsibility. I am the little uncle of the Hua family, Hua Xiaoshu. Let me talk to your father. Qingwan cleverly refused. No, my dad must not know about this. Little uncle naively fell in her trap. She wasn't impressed by his identity. He was touched, but secretly admired Qingwan in his heart. If it were any other woman, she would have already been pushing me to get married. What naive girl. Qingwan held his hand and continued her tearful act. I'm a very traditional girl, but if you really want to take responsibility for me, I hope we can start by dating. Is that okay? Little uncle agreed without hesitation. Okay. Seeing that she had succeeded, she smiled happily on the surface. Thank you. My name is Su Qingwan. But in her heart, she cursed little uncle fiercely. What an idiot. At this time, at Jinhuan's place, loud knocking and shouting woke her up. Su Jinhuan, open the door. Su Jinhuan, get your ass out here. She asked sleepily. Who is it making so much noise so early in the morning? She reluctantly threw off the covers and went out. The shouting was still loud. Su Jinhuan, open the door. Jinhuan recognized the voice. It was Mother Sue's. Was she making a fuss about so early in the morning? Disturbing someone's sweet dreams will get you struck by lightning. Then she opened the door angrily. Disturbing someone's sweet dreams so early in the morning will get you struck by lightning. She threw a stack of documents at Jinhuan and said, before I get struck by lightning, you should worry about yourself first. She caught the stack of papers in surprise. What is this? She smiled smugly. Your good days are over. The more she read, the more her brows furrowed. A moment later, Jinhuan slammed the door shut with a bang. She didn't react in time and shouted from outside, Su Jinhuan. She could only stand outside and curse like a loudspeaker. Su Jinhuan, you uneducated daughter, you bitch, get ready for jail. The house you live in, your funds, and the shares that old man left you all belong to my Qingwan. Inside, Jinhuan clutched the paper tightly. The content was a lawyer's letter from Chu Xiao stating that she had intentionally caused him injury, rendering him unable to move. Reading this, she was somewhat surprised. He's paralyzed? He's that weak. But then she sighed and smiled slyly. You want to frame me, right? I'll play along. With that, she took out her phone and found someone's number. The call was answered quickly, and an annoyed voice came through. My goodness, what time is it for you to be calling me? Jinhuan excitedly ran a hand through her hair. Don't be annoyed yet, Wanyu. I'm in legal trouble and need your help. One you ask curiously, oh, what kind of help? Cut to the hospital. Someone was complaining loudly. I'm so bored. That person angrily smashed a few empty bottles. There's nothing fun in this godforsaken place. It's all that witch's fault. Young Master Chu angrily kept drinking beer. I'm so pissed off. It must be the old man's idea. He doesn't want to arrange a decent woman for me. He's deliberately trying to piss me off. Suddenly, he realized someone was coming. The door opened, and Jean Huan walked in gently. Excuse me, she said in a soft and charming voice. Is this young Master Chu's ward? He excitedly walked forward and grabbed Jean Huan's shoulders. It's you. Young Master Chu was overjoyed. Although she had changed her makeup style, she was still breathtakingly beautiful. Jean Huan looked flustered and pitiful. Young Master Chu, I didn't mean to hurt you. Please don't call the police, okay? As long as you don't sue me, I won't resist whatever you ask me to do. I was waiting for you to say that. Young Master Chu shamelessly pulled Jean Huan towards him. Scared now, are you? Then hurry up and come serve this young master. She carefully tried to resist. Hey, Chu Xiao. One side of her dress unintentionally slipped down slowly. Jean Huan pretended to complain. Be gentle. My dress is falling off. His eyes widened in excitement as he looked at her body. I can't hold it in anymore. Jean Huan suddenly noticed the bulge in his pants. She pretended to take a step back and questioned Chu Xiao. Didn't you say I beat you so badly you couldn't move? How can you still? Jean Huan had anticipated everything. She knew he wanted to frame her. He didn't care at all and came over to caress her cheek. With your strength? Ridiculous. Jean Huan warned him. You dare to lie to me? You won't get away with it. The more Jean Huan refused, the more excited he became. You're really something. What's wrong with this young master? You'll find out soon enough. If you serve this young master well, I might consider dropping the lawsuit. Jean Huan was about to raise her hand to hit him. In your dreams, you're clearly fine. You're fabricating evidence to frame me. Aren't you afraid I'll call the police? Chu Xiao grabbed her hand and asked arrogantly, so what if this young master fabricated evidence? His breathing grew heavier and he moved closer to Jean Huan. I'm telling you, I've hired the best legal team in the city to help me. If you don't obey, I guarantee you'll never get out of prison in this lifetime. This lifetime. At this point, Jean Huan had achieved her goal. She smiled lightly. You've admitted to fabricating evidence. That's enough. He was stunned by her reaction and questioned her suspiciously. What did you say? As soon as he finished speaking, a vase appeared out of nowhere and smashed on his head. Young Master Chu fell to the ground in pain. He clutched his bleeding head and screamed. Huan Yu loudly reminded her, Su, run. She pulled Jean Huan and ran. I recorded everything. This is a rare sight. He couldn't move, but the moment he saw a beautiful woman, he pounced. With this video, let's see how he can frame me now. Jean Huan breathed a sigh of relief. That's great. For the sake of little Yuan, she opened her eyes with determination. Jean Huan was incredibly determined. Absolutely nothing can happen to me. In the hospital room, Chu Xiao clutched his wound and ordered angrily, Don't run. Where are you? Someone, get those two bitches back here for me. He roared and cursed. Where did all the security guards go? Perhaps due to excessive blood loss, he fell to the ground again. A pair of shiny leather shoes appeared before his eyes. Useless trash, go after them. Taking a closer look at the person standing in front of him, he was scared out of his wits and sat up abruptly. The person standing there was Huoli Chun. His expression so dark it looked like he was about to kill someone. Young Master Chu was so scared he stuttered, unable to form a complete sentence. Yu. He wondered in his heart, why is Huoli Chun here? Huoli Chun didn't answer him. He suddenly kicked Chu Xiao fiercely. Then he warned, she's the person I'm protecting, and you still dare touch her? Do the 3 words Huoli Chun mean nothing to you? He was so scared that tears came to his eyes, and he cried and explained, no, I didn't. She came to me on her own. Huoli Chun couldn't be bothered to listen to his explanation, kicked him again, and cursed. Trash. Young Master Chu was beaten until he cried his eyes out. Then, without mercy, Huoli Chun waved his hand and ordered he wants his family line to end. Go and grant him his wish. The bodyguards following behind quickly complied. Yes. One of the bodyguards kindly told him, Mr. Chu, relax. Don't be nervous. It will only hurt for a moment, and then it won't hurt anymore. He trembled and backed away, begging for mercy. No. Please spare me. I'm the only son of my family. Please, however much money you want, I'll give you all my family's assets. Unfortunately, it was too late. His terrified screams echoed outside, sounding miserable. Back to Hua Li-chen's side, Angie followed worriedly behind to report. Young master, Madam has found out about your investment in the nightclub. She is investigating this matter and may soon find out about Miss Sue. Hearing this, he could only be silent and frustrated. She's interfering with my business again. He suddenly saw something. Hua Li-chen stopped in his tracks. It turned out that standing in front of him were Jean Huan and her friend. One you suggested, Susu, I've already called a taxi. Let's wait here. She nodded in response. Okay. Jean Huan seemed to feel someone watching her, and she turned her head. Jean Huan saw him, standing there quietly watching her, and unconsciously called out, Hua Li-chen. She didn't expect to see him here. She could even run into him at the hospital. Could it be that they were so deeply fated? Should she say hello? Jean Huan thought for a moment, and just as she was about to greet him, he walked past her indifferently. Hua Li-chen's action made her freeze in place in horror, watching his back. He's really too cold. One you waved her hand in front of Jean Huan and asked, Susu, what's wrong? Jean Huan came back to her senses and replied, it's nothing. She also understood the difference in status between herself and Hua Li-chen. We are indeed people from two different worlds. He was interested in me before, but that was just a fleeting novelty. She clenched her fists and made a difficult decision. One you, that man you introduced to me before, please arrange for me to go on a blind date as soon as possible. Her heart was in turmoil. Xiao Yuan's health is getting worse and worse. They can't delay any longer. The scene switches to a coffee shop. A voice sounds. Our company knows many important people. Zifeng said with a calm smile. So if Miss Su has any problems, you can come to me anytime. Jean Huan smiled and secretly praised her friend Nuan Yu for finally finding her a seemingly reliable man this time. Suddenly he said, Miss Su, you don't seem to be very interested in me. Zifeng showed a trace of sadness and took the initiative to ask, is there anything you're not satisfied with? Please tell me. I can change. She immediately denied it and explained, no, I think you're great, Mr. Huang. I don't really have any requirements. My only request is to get married as soon as possible. Faced with her strange request, Zifeng couldn't help but feel confused. Miss Su's conditions are clearly so good. Why is she in such a hurry? Jean Huan recounted awkwardly, because I have a half-brother who has leukemia. As long as I get married, I can get a dowry, which can be used for my brother's surgery. Huang Zifeng sympathized with her and said, so that's how it is. Zifeng's gentleness made Jean Huan very grateful. Thank you. She was glad that someone could understand her situation. It's too hard to meet a man who understands my actions. Her thoughts suddenly struggled again, as if fighting a feeling she didn't understand. This way I can get the money for Xiao Yuan's surgery soon. But why do I feel irritated and uneasy in my heart? In the end, Jean Huan gave herself no chance to turn back and hurriedly urged Mr. Huang. The Civil Affairs Bureau isn't closed yet. She suggested with determination, let's go register now. Her mind was made up. I absolutely cannot regret it at this critical moment. Although he agreed, things are moving too fast for Zifeng to keep up. So fast. I knew it was urgent, but I didn't expect it to be this urgent. Jean Huan stood up, repeating Zifeng's words. You said saving a life is like fighting a fire. There's no time to delay. Suddenly, a girl appeared out of nowhere, pointing at the two of them breathlessly and cursing. You adulterous pair! She roared angrily. You vixen! How dare you seduce my husband? Jean Huan looked at her blankly. What? Zifeng stood up abruptly, annoyed. Lingli, what are you doing? We've already broken up. Lingli grabbed his collar, refusing to accept it. Broken up? She cried and beat Zifeng. I don't agree, and our child doesn't agree either. He ordered, don't you dare cause a scene here. Only then did Zifeng remember the grim-faced Jean Huan next to him. Miss Su, let me explain. I broke up with her a long time ago. I have nothing to do with her. At this moment, she spoke up and accused. You got her pregnant, and you still say it has nothing to do with you? I don't see what there is to explain. He tried to defend himself. Lingli tried to hold on to Zifeng's arm, crying and making a scene. Why are you trying to steal my husband? My child and I can't live without him. The people around were gossiping. What's going on? What's the situation? Lingli also tried to frame Jean Huan. You're so beautiful. Go seduce a rich man. I'm begging you not to steal my husband. Jean Huan crossed her arms and replied unhurriedly, Miss, I'm just on a blind date with him today. It has nothing to do with your your relationship. Jin Huan in turn criticized her. If he is your husband, please manage him well. Don't let him go around deceiving people under the guise of being single again. The people standing around listening to the commotion also spoke up, accusing Zifeng of being a scumbag. He's married and still comes here for a blind date. How despicable. Jin Huan dusted off her shoulder and turned to leave. Mr. Huang, if your ex-girlfriend is pregnant with your child, you should treat her well. Mr. Huang explained, both angry and flustered. Miss Su, it's not like that. I broke up with her over a year ago. This child of hers is not mine at all. Lingli stopped him from behind. The child is yours. If you dare to chase after her, I'll die with the child. He struggled stubbornly. Let go of me. She blocked him. I won't let go. Wah. While the two were arguing, Jin Huan had already quietly left. Lingli sat in a chair and leisurely picked up a piece of cake to enjoy. Oh my, I'm so tired from crying. When Mr. Huang saw Lingli like this, his face turned green. Lingli, you better explain to me what's going on. She looked up and answered him in an indifferent tone. What do you mean? Can't you see I came to cause trouble? This cake is delicious. Mr. Huang lost his patience and knocked the cake out of her hand. Stop playing dumb. Mr. Huang roared angrily. What right do you have to ruin my blind date with Miss Su? Lingli was not to be outdone. She shot up and cursed directly. What's wrong? I just can't stand a scumbag like you pretending to be a gentleman to harm other girls. You chauvinistic, selfish man, you hit women, and now you want to hit me? I'm pregnant. Hit me if you dare. I'll take you down with me. One corpse, two lives. He was rendered speechless by her words. You're ruthless? Meanwhile, Angie stood at a distance, monitoring the situation with a camera. That Yu Lingli really knows how to add drama. He turned to report to Huo Li Chun. Young master, the truth is I only followed your instructions to have Yu Lingli come and cause trouble. I definitely did not teach her curse at Miss Su. His face immediately darkened, and his voice became stern. Where did she go? On the other side, Jin Huan took a step and thought. Sigh. She wasn't paying attention to the people around her as she walked. Why are all the men I go on blind dates with scumbags? Not a single one is reliable. Suddenly, Jin Huan sighed. The marriage is off. I can't get the dowry. What should I do? Suddenly, the noise ahead made her curious. A group of people were chattering nonstop. Everyone, don't get too close. She might be faking it, and then it will cost money. It's possible. Jin Huan was a little confused. What happened? Then she squeezed in. The people around were still chattering. She's wearing designer clothes. She probably didn't fall on purpose to scam money. That's because you're inexperienced. How can you scam people without dressing up? But don't help her up anyway. When Jin Huan saw the woman who had fainted on the road, she was startled. Oh no, someone has fainted. She went forward to check without hesitation. Move aside. Let me see what's wrong with her. The people around hurriedly stopped her. Hey girl, you mustn't touch her. If something happens, you'll be held responsible. Even so, Jin Huan quickly placed her hand on the woman's neck to check, and she was shocked to find she's not faking it. She's passed out. Call an ambulance. After saying that, she immediately rushed up to perform chest compressions on the woman. Everyone, spread out. Don't crowd around here. Let the air circulate quickly. After checking for a moment, Jin Huan said, I need to perform artificial respiration first. When Huo Li Chun saw this scene, he immediately ordered, call an ambulance. Angie quickly replied, yes. After observing for a moment, he was stunned. Miss Su, not to mention her good figure, she also knows how to save people. After speaking, Angie glanced at Huo Li Chun. He couldn't help but think to himself, the most amazing thing is that she has my young master so captivated. He's not doing business worth billions, but running here to care about her blind date. It's truly amazing, he thought. Back to Jin Huan's side. She was still trying hard to give her artificial respiration. She announced happily, there's a heartbeat again. Her heartbeat has returned. At the same time, the doctors also ran over quickly. The patient is here quickly. She helped lift the patient and check the situation. The patient has recovered from her coma. Fortunately, a kind-hearted person helped with timely artificial respiration. Otherwise, it would have been too late. The people around immediately praised Jin Huan. Thanks to that kind-hearted girl. She's truly as beautiful as she is kind-hearted. That's great. Meanwhile, the doctor was still urging urgently. Quick, send her to the hospital immediately. Suddenly, she staggered as if she was about to fall. The sudden relaxation made her feel a wave of dizziness. Huo Li Chun quickly appeared and supported her. Seeing him, she couldn't help but be surprised. Jin Huan asked in surprise, why is it you? He instead held her in his arms and replied, you don't look well. Don't talk, close your eyes and rest. I'll take you to the hospital. Then he held her, concerned for her. She shyly called his name. Hua Li-chun. Hua Li-chun affectionately stroked her head and replied in a doting tone, "Didn't you want to rest? Isn't your body tired enough?" He also added sarcastically, "Or do you want me to do something to you?" Hearing this, Jin Huan quickly pushed him away. "No, don't, I want to rest." In the end, she obediently stayed in Hua Li-chun's arms, her heart beating fast. "He ignored me in the hospital. Why is he so concerned about me now?" Suddenly, Jin Huan asked vaguely, "What are you thinking about?" She couldn't understand, but she felt her physical condition was not good. "No, I'm too dizzy. I'm about to lose consciousness." She lay comfortably in Hua Li-chun's arms. He vaguely asked himself, "What am I thinking?" Finally, Jin Huan fell asleep in Hua Li-chun's arms. He kept thinking, "What am I doing?" Hua Li-chun carefully placed Jin Huan in the car. "Forget it. None of this matters." He gently stroked her hair. "Just sleep peacefully like this. Don't worry about me selling you off." That night at the hospital, Jin Huan slowly woke up. "I ended up being taken to the hospital by Hua Li-chun." She sat up sleepily. "It feels like I haven't slept so peacefully in a long time." Then, Jin Huan picked up the hospital bill from the side. "It's late. I should go to work. I should go to the cashier to pay the medical bills and then go to work." But her attitude immediately became panicked. 10,000? Wait, didn't I just come here for a nap? It cost 10,000? Damn it, what a waste. A moment later, Jin Huan went to pay the medical bill. The cashier said happily, "Miss, your medical bill has already been paid. You don't need to pay again." She was a little surprised. "Already paid?" The cashier still replied with a smile, "Yes." Jin Huan left in a daze. When Hua Li-chun brought me here, he had already paid the bill. She couldn't help but blame herself in her heart. I clearly didn't want to owe him anything, but still. Suddenly, the phone rang. Looking at the screen, she couldn't help but freeze. Xiao Yuan's attending physician? Why is he calling so late? Could something have happened to Xiao Yuan? Then, Jin Huan answered the phone anxiously. "Hello, Dr. Xiao, my brother, The voice on the other end of the line sounded anxious. "Miss Su, I just received a notification from the hospital. The donor who is donating bone marrow to Xiao Yuan has explicitly stated." His next words stunned her. "He can no longer donate bone marrow to Xiao Yuan." Jin Huan retorted in a panic and confusion. "What? Why? Is it not enough money? I can give him more. The amount of money doesn't matter. I can give it." Dr. Xiao tried to explain. "Miss Su, don't get excited." He didn't give a reason. "Bone marrow donation is based on the donor's voluntary spirit. If he doesn't agree, we can't force him." He continued to comfort her. "We missed a suitable bone marrow this time. We can wait again. There is still hope." At this point, Jin Huan choked up and said, "We have waited for a long time, and we finally found a suitable person. Xiao Yuan's body is getting weaker and weaker. I'm afraid he can't wait any longer." Jin Huan shed tears of despair. "Dr. Xiao, please tell me how to contact that bone marrow donor. I will go and beg him. I will agree to any condition." Dr. Xiao still tried to persuade her. "Miss Su, calm down. I can't violate my professional ethics." Jin Huan became calm. She wiped her tears. "I'm sorry. I lost control of my emotions. That's why I spoke so incoherently." Afterwards, while wiping her tears, she listened to Dr. Xiao say, "It's okay. I understand you." Dr. Xiao continued to encourage her. "Miss Su, at this time we must face it with optimism." Jin Huan looked up at the sky, her expression incomparably empty. "God, why did you give us hope, only to cruelly take it away?" Her tears flowed ceaselessly, and she asked herself, "Xiao Yuan, what should I do?" A moment later, at the Su family villa, Qinghuan accidentally overheard the conversation between those two people. "Oh, Qinghuan." She immediately recognized the woman, Su Qinghuan. She leaned against the red car and said, "It's getting late. I have to go back. You should go home and rest too." After speaking, Qinghuan turned her face and snorted at Jinhuan. "Humph." Jinhuan, on the other hand, ignored her. A thought flashed through her mind. Su Qinghuan has found a new boyfriend again. Jinhuan walked into the house, her mind still in a mess. No wonder she hasn't come to make trouble these past few days. When Qinghuan saw her, she shamelessly followed her sister. "Why do you look so pale? Something very painful must have happened, right?" "That's right." She smiled smugly. "But that's right, ha 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 ha, because of that damn bastard of yours. I'm afraid he's going to see the king of hell this time." When Jinhuan heard this, she turned around in a panic. She tried to question, "What? What do you mean? What do you know?" Qinghuan crossed her arms and said in a provocative tone, "What? My brother finally found a suitable bone marrow." Her face became distorted. "The cooked duck flew away in the end, and it was me who told this duck to fly away." Surprised? Unexpected? Jinhuan was provoked. She rushed up and grabbed her by the neck. Qing Huan spoke with difficulty, but her hands were getting tighter. What are you doing? Let go of me. Jin Huan did not back down and shouted. So it was your trick? Why did you do this? Qing Huan was gradually reaching her limit. She said intermittently, You crazy woman, let go. I won't tell you, but with just a few words, I can make your brother die. Jin Huan, on the other hand, still refused to let go. If you have any dissatisfaction, direct it at me. Why target Xiao Yuan? You finally found a suitable bone marrow and had hope. Do you know that bone marrow donor? What did you say to him? Her face had now turned purple. Let go of me. I'll talk. Jin Huan said sternly. Speak. Suddenly, she turned and shouted, Dad, Mom, come and save me. My sister's trying to kill me. Qing Huan quickly seized the opportunity to escape. She shouted as she ran. Su Jin Huan, who do you think you are? With Mom and Dad around, I'm not afraid of you. Let's see how you catch me. Jin Huan threatened. Fine. Su Qing Huan, you better not leave the house for the rest of your life. I won't let you go. Time passed quickly, and 3 days later, at the pier, Qing Huan frowned and thought, I shouldn't have admitted that the bone marrow donor was my doing in the first place. She cursed Jin Huan as she walked. Su Jin Huan is really a crazy woman. Immediately after, she turned around, her tone stern. Su Jin Huan, don't you follow me anymore. Jin Huan stubbornly questioned, Tell me who he is. Qing Huan walked away contemptuously. You psycho, then you can just keep following me. I'm at a party on a yacht now. Let's see how you follow me. Jin Huan was stopped by 2 bodyguards. I'm sorry, miss. You can't enter without an invitation. She quickly stopped. All right. Jin Huan frowned and thought, You're ruthless, Su Qing Huan. Then I'll just stand outside. Suddenly, Angie appeared from behind. He greeted happily. Hi, Miss Su. What a coincidence. Are you also here for the out party? She replied a little embarrassedly. I want to go, but Seeing this, Angie quickly handed over an invitation. This yacht belongs to our young master. Tonight our young master is hosting a birthday party. If you don't mind, you can come aboard with me. Jin Huan replied happily. Really? How could I mind? Assistant Shin. Thank you. Angie hurriedly waved his hands. You're welcome. You're welcome. I should be thanking you for coming. After speaking, Angie looked around, then said shyly, But your outfit, it's better to put on some makeup. Jin Huan was stunned. Huh? He quickly added, Don't worry. There's a makeup artist on board. Please follow me to the makeup room. Angie led Jin Huan into the room. Miss Su, we're here. The room was decorated with all kinds of luxurious things, and the cabinets were filled with designer accessories. Wow, there's a makeup room like this on the boat. Not only was she in the room, but several staff members followed to help. Miss Su, leave the rest to us. Jin Huan nodded shyly. Okay. She was still lost in thought. This is so grand. It's like it was specially prepared for me. Assistant Shun still stood with his arms crossed, smiling contentedly. Miss Su hasn't noticed anything yet. He was so happy he kept smiling. My work efficiency is too perfect if the young master doesn't give me a big red envelope at the end of the year. Afterwards, Angie went outside the hall to see Huo Li Chun, young master. He announced respectfully, It's all been arranged. He just glanced back coldly and nodded slightly. After a while, a staff member whispered in her ear to announce, Miss Su, your makeup is done. Jin Huan looked at herself in the mirror in a daze. Is this me? I don't think I've ever been this beautiful. The makeup artist tidied her hair and praised her constantly. Miss Su, you are so beautiful. I've done makeup for many socialites, models, and celebrities, but you are the most outstanding among them. She lowered her head shyly and coughed lightly. It's your top-notch makeup skills. After they finished, the two led her to the back of the fitting room. Miss Su, we have prepared some gowns. Please choose one you like. Jin Huan gasped at the luxurious sight. Wow, these gowns are so beautiful. The staff smiled gently. Miss Su, take your time to choose. They all had the same thought in their minds. Perhaps Miss Su doesn't know that all these things were prepared for her by young Master Hua. Jin Huan picked and chose and finally fell in love with one. I'll choose this one. The assistant smiled and led Jin Huan to the small room. Miss Su has great taste. This one suits your figure very well. Please follow me to the changing room. She responded with a smile. Thank you. But in the room, Jin Huan was struggling to put on the off-the-shoulder pink dress. The zipper just wouldn't go up. She quickly asked for help. Makeup artist, I can't get the zipper up. Please help me with it. An arm reached over to help her with the zipper, quietly replying, There. Jin Huan was startled and turned to see who it was. His face clearly presented before her, Huo Li Chun. She didn't understand why she kept running into this man everywhere, and her foot accidentally stepped back on her dress. How could he be here? Jin Huan swayed and fell backward. Huo Li Chun quickly wrapped his arm around her waist to support her. Jin Huan shyly pushed him away and scolded. What are you doing? Huo Chun, let go of me. From the very beginning, Huo Chun's eyes had not left her. He gently caressed the angelic face that was presented before him today. You. Just as Jin Huan was in a daze, a light kiss gently landed on her lips. In the unexpected moment their lips touched, her cheeks flushed, and at first she was still resisting firmly. But in the end, Huo Chun also pulled her hand and pressed it against his body. Jin Huan was greedily occupied by his full lips, and a delicate moan slowly sounded. Her head could barely stay up, her hands clutching him tightly, trying to break free. I'm about to suffocate. Finally, Huo Chun reluctantly let her go. He was drenched in sweat. Jin Huan snapped back to her senses, covered her mouth in a fluster, and said angrily, how did he get in? Before she could finish, Li Chun interrupted her and lifted her into his arms. Jin Huan panicked and shouted, what are you doing? Put me down. He just smiled dotingly. Then he slowly placed her on the dressing table. Jin Huan was still very wary. What else are you trying to do? But Li Chun just silently took out a pair of pink high heels. Seeing the high heels in his hand, she was stunned for a moment. Are these for me to wear? Li Chun also slowly knelt on the ground, just to thoughtfully put the shoes on for her. Jin Huan was flustered. Wow, Li Chun. Watching his careful and considerate appearance, her heart began to beat irregularly. Jin Huan felt very uncomfortable, her cheeks already as red as ripe tomatoes. I can wear them myself. But he said nothing more, his hands still slowly caressing that delicate, fair foot, thinking, so small, but they felt just right on me that night. Seeing that Li Chun hadn't moved for a long time, she had to call out to break the tense atmosphere. Hey, can we go now? How long are you planning to hold my foot? He nodded in his heart, then slowly put the shoe on her foot. All right. Jin Huan jumped down from the table, took a few steps, and couldn't help but marvel. It's amazing. Expensive shoes are just different, so comfortable. They're clearly high heels, but the bottom is so soft. He quietly took her hand. Li Chun looked at her shyly and made a spontaneous excuse. Today is my brother's birthday, and I'm missing a dance partner tonight. Jin Huan's eyes widened in disbelief. No way. You're missing a dance partner? Are you kidding me? Suddenly, he turned to stare at her, making her say awkwardly, why? What's wrong? Li Chun moved closer, creating a sweet scene. Then he whispered sweet nothings in Jin Huan's ear. The one I'm missing is you. Just this one sentence made her gaze turn hazy. Although her heart was pounding like thunder, her reason remained firm, trying to stay calm. Jin Huan, wake up, don't be moved, but Jin Huan's reason didn't allow her to soften. No, Huo Chun, don't try to tempt me. That night was just an accident. I know you're just acting on a whim. As soon as she finished speaking, she turned and ran away quickly. I still have things to do. I'm not playing with you anymore. Outside, Assistant Shun happened to see this scene, and a huge question mark appeared in his mind. He watched, sweating, as Jin Huan pushed young Master Huo further and further away. The young master has never been so gentle before, yet he still couldn't win her heart. He thought Miss Su was playing hard to get. It's truly amazing. Li Chun stumbled out of the room with a dazed expression, and Angie couldn't help but cover his mouth and snicker. He never thought he would see the young master look so defeated in this lifetime. The boat was busy with preparations, waiting for the fireworks display for tonight's party. Jin Huan looked around, searching for someone. Where is Su Qingwan? She became more and more lost in thought. If it's really as she said, the donor must be very rich. After all, Su Qingwan only knows how to associate with young masters from wealthy families. The crowd behind her started whispering when they saw Jin Huan walking back and forth on the yacht. So dazzling. Wow, who is that? Which family's daughter is she? So beautiful. Finally, in the bustling crowd, Qingwan recognized her. Su Jin Huan. She muttered to herself, gritting her teeth. Damn it, how did she get on the boat without an invitation? And dressed like that, with that kind of makeup to steal the spotlight. Jin Huan stepped forward and linked her sister's arm. Su Jin Huan, why are you here? She smiled faintly, pursed her lips silently, too lazy to bother with her. If you can be here, why can't I be? What are you afraid of? She provoked, making her so angry she almost spat blood. You come with me first, let's talk outside. Once outside, Jin Huan grabbed her shoulders and accused her. Su Qingwan, you know what I want. I'm giving you one last chance, my brother is still waiting. As long as you get the donor's consent form back, I won't pursue what you've done. Qingwan, caught red-handed, stubbornly denied it. What does your brother's life or death have to do with me? Is it up to me whether someone donates or not? You're crazy. She glared at the woman in front of her. It's all because of her scheming behind the scenes. She struggled to break free. Su Jinhuan, let go of me now. But Jinhuan still wouldn't let go, forcing her to admit all her tricks. Speak up. Suddenly, Jinhuan's expression changed, and she started to feign a weak and pleading look. Wow, sister, don't hit me. What do you want to know? I'll tell you everything. Jinhuan's face changed instantly. Jinhuan narrowed her eyes warily. What trick is she playing now? When she turned her head, she was stunned. What on earth are you doing? The strange man pulled her away, coming to her rescue. What are you trying to do to Jinhuan? Let her go. Jinhuan quickly recognized him as Xiao Xian. Isn't this the man Su Jinhuan brought upstairs? That night, with someone to rely on, Jinhuan threw herself into the man's arms and cried, "Are you okay? Don't be afraid. I'm here." She pretended to be scared, using him as a shield. Xiao Xianhua. She began to vaguely recognize a familiar person. Xiao Xian? Which Xiao Xian? It dawned on Jinhuan that he is the eldest son adopted by the Hua family. It is said that Mrs. Hua treats him better than her own child. Seeing Jinhuan still crying, he gently patted her back. It's okay now, it's okay now. Then his face darkened, and he turned to Jinhuan. Who are you? Who let you on the boat? Li Chen appeared dashingly to rescue his beloved girl. She is my dance partner. I invited her. Jinhuan immediately returned to normal, smiling as she greeted him. Hua Li Chen. She was ecstatic in her heart and separated from Xiao Xian. Oh, the legitimate heir of the Hua family. I finally get to see him again. Xiao Xian also noticed her sudden change of heart, his eyes filled with disappointment. Jinhuan witnessed everything and scoffed contemptuously. So that's how it is. She only used Hua Xiaoxian as a stepping stone. Hua Li Chun is her real target. Suddenly, he put his arm around her shoulder, pulling her closer. Li Chun held Jinhuan's waist tightly, declaring his sovereignty. She is my woman. I brought her. Is there a problem? He felt a bit awkward and made a soft sound. So she's your dance partner, Uncle Xiaoxian. He gazed at the other person, lost in thought. This is the first time he has seen Hua Li Chun bring a girl by his side. Hasn't he always been cold towards women? Jinhuan blushed and prepared to pinch Li Chun in retaliation. Who is his dance partner? He's acting so naturally. But he grabbed her hand faster, smiling as he introduced her. That's right, I haven't had the chance to introduce you to my big brother yet. Jinhuan interrupted, smoothing things over in a fake tone. Brother Tian, let me introduce you. This is my sister, Su Jinhuan. We just had a little misunderstanding just now. It's nothing. Xiao Xin quickly apologized. So you all know each other. I was too reckless just now. I'm sorry. Then he wanted to go in the hall with her. The ball is about to start. Jinhuan, let's go in. But she insisted on pulling Jinhuan in with them, wanting to take the opportunity to humiliate her and make a fool of her. By the way, sister, let's go dance together. She was already plotting in her mind to humiliate her. You've never learned to dance, and you've never been to a ball. Let's see how you dance. Jinhuan was stunned, not knowing how to respond. Jinhuan scoffed contemptuously. Su Jinhuan, you're definitely going to make a fool of yourself this time. This time she lowered her head and refused flatly, but with some hesitation. I don't want to dance. Her words reminded Jinhuan of unpleasant memories. Mrs. Su's biological daughter, Su Jinhuan, was proficient in everything, etiquette and talents, but she didn't want to spend money on me to learn these things. Li Chen looked at her blankly, asking with eyes full of love, "You are my dance partner if you don't dance. Who will I dance with?" Jinhuan glanced at him secretly, as if admitting a fact. I've never learned. Aren't you afraid I'll embarrass you? But Li Chen showed no sign of refusal, putting his arm around her waist. I don't know what embarrassment is. He held her waist without a care and walked confidently into the ball. Let's just improvise and see what happens. Relax, follow me. I'd like to see who dares to laugh at you. But Jinhuan frowned, furious. Su Jinhuan, on what grounds? As soon as she entered the ballroom, she said timidly, Hua Li Chun, I really can't. Let's go. Li Chun squeezed her hand for encouragement. If I say you can, you can. He pulled her into his arms without hesitation. The Su Jinhuan I know is not a coward who backs down. Jinhuan panicked, not knowing how to explain. But right now, I just want to be a coward who backs down. She stopped halfway. I'm here to investigate things, not to attract attention. Li Chen agreed gently. All right, little turtle, raise your hand and put it on my shoulder. She blushed shyly and retorted, Who's a little turtle? But he suddenly pulled her even closer. Her cheeks flushed. She had no choice but to place her hand on Li Chen's shoulder. Are you doing this on purpose? Her mind was in a mess now. I remember this dance doesn't need to be this close. Looking at Jinhuan curled up in his arms like a child, he thought, so cute, I want to pinch her. Li Chun moved closer and guided her gently. Su Jin Huan, relax, follow my rhythm. Jin Wan, like a deer cornered, was both flustered and scared. Slow down. Jin Wan stood on her tiptoes, did a half turn, her body still swaying gently with the music. She looked at Li Chun shyly, thinking, it doesn't seem that hard. Li Chun looked at her, his voice a little gentle. It's simple, isn't it? Jin Huan didn't know how to answer, just gave a soft Seeing Jin Huan and Li Chun dancing, the people around them exclaimed in admiration. Oh my God, which family's daughter is she? She dances so beautifully. Isn't that young Master Huan next to her? Hearing the compliments from the crowd. They dance so well. They look like a perfect match. Jin Huan gritted her teeth and cursed inwardly. When did this Su Jin Huan learn to dance? She was just pretending to be pitiful to trick me. They are both young masters of the Hua family, but Hua Shaoxian is still no match for Hua Li Chun. Li Chun gently held Jin Huan's hand, swaying to the soulful music. They were both lost in the dance. Jin Huan's heart beat faster, thumping in her chest. She called his name softly, Hua Li Chun. Li Chun didn't speak, just looked at her with a deep, affectionate gaze. A waiter came forward, interrupting the ambiguous atmosphere between the two. Young Master Hua, the master requests your presence. Li Chun turned his head and replied, all right. He kissed Jin Huan on the forehead and instructed her, go walk around for a bit, wait for me to come back. Jin Huan just gave a soft She watched his departing figure, clutching her chest in relief. He's finally gone. Phew. This young Master Hua is like a spotlight. With him around, everyone stares. Looking at the tempting food on the plate, Jin Huan's stomach rumbled. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten anything tonight. She quickly put a few pastries on her plate. The pastries here are delicious. I need to get something to fill my stomach. Then she enjoyed them happily, not forgetting to exclaim, so delicious. A voice from the side caught her attention. Hey, who are you? You're so beautiful. How come I've never seen you before? The person who called out to her was Lin Zia, the rich daughter of the Lin family. Jin Huan calmly put a piece of cake in her mouth and asked, who I am? What does it have to do with you? Zia's face fell, and she pointed a finger, saying, you're with my fiancé. Of course it has something to do with me. Jin Huan's face froze, and she retorted, who is your fiancé? Hua Li Chun? Then you should worry about keeping an eye on your fiancé, because he told me he's still single. Zia was rendered speechless. Hearing this, Zia frowned. Just then, Angie interrupted Zia. Wait, Miss Lin, you put on a professional smile. Don't you want to know about our young master's hobbies? We can go over there and talk in detail. Zia was overjoyed to hear this. Really? As long as it's about him, I want to know everything. Angie replied. Really, just come this way with me. But he thought to himself, don't provoke the person the young master treasures like a jewel here. Jin Huan watched this scene and cursed silently in her heart. I knew none of these rich people were any good. He already has 3 fiancés and still comes to provoke me. Damn Hua Li Chun. Zia thought of something and picked up a glass of wine. Oh, right. She threw the wine directly at Jin Huan, pretending to cover her mouth. Oops. The wine splashed directly on the dress she was wearing, stunning Jin Huan. Angie exclaimed in panic. Miss Lin, how could you do that? But Zia covered her mouth and laughed mockingly. I'm sorry, my hand slipped. Jin Huan was not one to be outdone. She grabbed the hem of her dress with one hand and said, all right, I was just thinking this dress was too cumbersome. Then she decisively ripped off the hem of the dress, shocking everyone around. Wow. Looking at the torn hem, Angie could only exclaim, well done. Leaving Zia standing there, Jin Huan calmly walked away, leaving a sentence behind. Everyone, go about your business. I'm going to fill my stomach first. Zia felt suffocated and stomped her foot in frustration. That works too? Assistant Angie was also annoyed. He pushed his hand, causing the tray of wine in the waiter's hand to spill. The deep red wine spilled onto Zia's dress. Oops. She angrily questioned Shun Angie. What are you doing? Angie held up his hands, feigning innocence. I'm sorry, Miss Lin. My hand slipped accidentally. Jin Huan witnessed this and couldn't help but smile. Zia screamed, raising her hand to strike. Shun Angie, who do you think you are? Angie didn't dodge and took a painful slap from Zia. Jin Huan exclaimed in surprise. Assistant Shun. Zia left in a huff with an angry expression. Jin Huan walked up and asked with concern, Assistant Shin, are you okay? Angie replied wearily, I'm fine. He rubbed his cheek and smiled. If I don't get slapped by her, this matter won't end. She is the only daughter of the chairman of the Lin Group. But in his heart, he was calculating. This is a work injury. I got hit for protecting Miss Su. How much bonus would the young master compensate me with? Jean Huan asked with concern. Are you sure you don't need me to go with you? But Angie happily reassured her. It's fine. I'll go find some ice to put on it myself. Miss Su, you just enjoy the party. Jean Huan scratched her cheek in confusion. Why is he so happy after getting hit? A group of men flocked over, striking up a friendly conversation. Hey, miss, you're so beautiful. Can I have the honor of a dance with you? Hey, miss, how about we get to know each other? Jean Huan waved her hand in refusal. I'm sorry, I don't know how to dance. But someone shamelessly insisted. It's okay, I can teach you. I've even won an award before. They said one after another. I can teach you too. Hey, miss, dance with me. My dad is the chairman of the Lu Group, and my mom is the owner of a global chain enterprise. Jean Huan was surrounded and overwhelmed. Li Chen witnessed this. His brow immediately furrowed, and his gaze darkened considerably. Jean Huan backed away awkwardly. No need, Li Chen immediately pulled her into his arms. Seeing this, the group of men dared not approach anymore. Oh, so she already has a partner. Then we won't disturb you. Jean Huan struggled to break free. What are you doing? Let go of me. Li Chen scolded angrily. I was only gone for a moment, and you've already attracted a swarm of butterflies. Do you think I'm dead? Jean Huan's hand was gripped tightly, and she shouted, Is it my fault? And you, young Master Hua, you already have a fiancé. Why are you still provoking me? Let go. I don't want to be part of your game. Li Chen was surprised to hear this. Fiancé? He thought one. Who said that? Jean Huan put one hand on her hip and pointed at him with the other, questioning. Are you still trying to play dumb? She glared, gritting her teeth, feeling self-reproach and heartache. I actually slept with a person like this, and She pushed Li Chen away with all her might, shouting, I dare to do anything, but I will never be the other woman. Li Chen, you scumbag, stay away from me. Li Chen grabbed Jean Huan's hand. Try to explain? It's not like that, wait. She closed her eyes tightly, as if not wanting to hear any of his excuses, and slapped him. Let go. Let go of my hand. Li Chen silently lowered his head. Jean Huan exclaimed in worry, She backed away in fear, thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Then Jean Huan immediately turned and ran. I'm dead this time. Li Chen roared in anger. What are you looking at? This young master is happy to let her hit me. Do you have a problem with that? Then he left. Qing Wan said from behind, Young Master Hua, I know why my sister reacts so strongly to the other woman. Li Chen stopped. He turned his head and asked, What did you say? Qing Wan quickly rattled off. When my sister was very young, her biological mother had an affair with a married man. Later, my father found out, beat her, and kicked her out of the Su family, not allowing her to see my sister again. My sister has always felt that her biological mother is a disgrace, so she hates the other woman very much. But like mother, like daughter, Li Chen turned around and looked directly at her, saying, The version I know is very different from what you're saying. He smiled slightly. I heard that you and your sister are only 6 months apart in age. Qing Wan clenched her hands in embarrassment. That's because her biological mother was already having an affair when she was pregnant with her. When my father was heartbroken, he met my mother, and my mother comforted him. So that's why. Li Chen crossed his arms, his tone sarcastic. Your mother is really something, knowing he was married and still comforting him all the way to bed. Qing Wan was brought to tears by his words. How can you say such nasty things? She has always hated me and my mom. She must have said a lot of bad things about us. Li Chen turned and waved his hand. Su Jinhuan really dislikes you too, but unlike you, she doesn't go around bad-mouthing others. Qingwan got angry. I'm not. You've misunderstood me. How hateful. Xiao Xian came up from behind and asked with concern. Qingwan, so you're here, what's wrong? You don't look well. She smiled and linked Xiao Xian's arm. I'm fine. Let's go dance. He replied, okay. Qingwan was still not satisfied and sighed. Hi. If only it were Li Chen's arm I was holding now. Jinny observed secretly from a distance. She said helplessly, the eldest young master has actually taken a fancy to this kind of person. The madam will definitely be very angry when she finds out. The luxurious yacht sailed on the sea. Li Chen couldn't see Jean Huan's figure. Where did she go? He seemed to have discovered something. She was standing in the wind, enjoying the sea view. How charming. Under the bright moonlight, Jean Huan's beautiful face. He gently draped his coat over her back. Li Chen felt wronged in his heart. I don't have a fiancé. Never have. Who did you hear that from? Who's spreading rumors? Ever since I met you, my mind has been full of you. Where would I find the time to meet other people? Jean Huan didn't care about this. You don't need to explain to me. Anyway, After leaving this boat, people from different worlds will go back to their own homes. He quickly touched her arm. Isn't this enough? I came to you to explain. Isn't that enough to prove that I care about you? Li Chen didn't understand what Jin Huan meant. Then you tell me, what should I do? She hesitated for a long time before saying, Don't tempt me. I still have things to do. Before Jin Huan could react, he kissed her. The coat on her back fell off at some point. Jin Huan and Li Chen's sweet kiss was not over yet. She was so embarrassed her face was flushed. Here we go again. Jin Huan tried to push him away. I can't breathe. The more she tried to push him away, the deeper Li Chen kissed. Finally, Jin Huan separated his lips. She was too flustered to speak. Hua Li Chen. He whispered in Jin Huan's ear, Is this enough? She was too shy to know what to say to Li Chen. What's enough or not? You're hurting me. He actually looked happy. I'm going to hurt you. Li Chen left a red hickey on Jin Huan's neck as a sign of sweetness and intimacy. She immediately scolded Li Chen. Are you a dog? Were you born the year of the dog? To bite so hard and in such an obvious place, how hateful. Jin Huan placed her hand on his face. She leaned forward slightly, a move that caught Hua Lycan off guard. He quickly backed away from Su Jin Huan. You, Hua Lycan, just wanted to confirm. Are you happy now? Su Jin Huan deliberately teased him. Liar, you said you liked me before. She waved goodbye calmly. You can cool down here. Remember to be quick. I'm waiting for you inside to dance. He touched the red mark under his mouth made by Su Jin Huan. Hua Lycan thought to himself, cool down? If I hold back any longer, I'm going to become a coward. He crossed his hands. Hua Lycan thought to himself, there's nothing to worry about. Su Jin Huan, you can be smug for now. Just let me keep lighting the fire without putting it out. We have plenty of time. The party inside the yacht was just as lively. The crisp sound of clinking wine glasses echoed throughout the cabin. Su Jin Huan reminded herself that she hadn't eaten enough just now and had to take the opportunity to eat more. I have to admit, the pastries here are delicious. Hua Lycan walked up and gently hugged her from behind. So delicious. He took a bite of the pastry in Su Jin Huan's hand. She was not happy that Hua Lycan was doing this in public. Go get your own to eat. The camera recorded what he had been saying. The pastry in your hand seems to be more delicious. A woman was watching Hua Lycan and Su Jin Huan from a distance. The waiter came to report, Mrs. Hua, Miss Jenny has brought the person. Su Jin Huan was very unhappy. I sprained my ankle while dancing just now and need to rest for a while. Where's this? She was shocked to find out, isn't this Mrs. Hua? Su Jin Huan immediately changed her attitude, and her expression became fawning. Hello, madam. She always treated guests with courtesy. Please sit down. Jenny repeated Mrs. Hua's words. Please have a seat. Second Miss Su. Su Jin Huan praised her to the skies. Thank you, madam. You are truly a lady from a prestigious family. Your aura is so powerful. She glanced at her and pointed to the TV screen. Is this girl your sister? She was confused and shocked by Su Jin Huan's appearance. Su Jin Huan? Madam, she is my half-sister. Mrs. Hua asked. I heard that her mother was kicked out of the house by her father for having an affair. Is that true? Su Jin Huan implicitly affirmed it with her words. It seemed that she disliked Su Jin Huan very much. I was still young at the time. I don't know about adult affairs. Later, I heard from the elders in the family that it seemed to be the case. Mrs. Hua directly stated her opinion. How could such a good girl have such a mother with a bad reputation? Her daughter is not worthy to stand by my son's side. Su Jin Huan became much more serious than usual. Madam, I am at your service. Mrs. Hua wanted to assign Su Jin Huan a task. I invited you here with this intention indeed. I believe you understand that if you can help me succeed, I will not treat you unfairly. She agreed without hesitation. I will follow all of Madam's instructions. She had a condition that Su Jin Huan needed to fulfill. But that child Xiao Xian has an introverted personality. I don't want him to get hurt. You should break up with him as soon as possible. Su Jin Huan just wanted to explain clearly and settle the matter. Madam, actually Xiao Xian and I are not. But Jenny didn't let her continue. Second Miss Su, our madam needs to rest. Please go back. Before Su Jin Huan could finish her sentence, the door slammed shut. Madam, believe me, we are just friends. Her eyes were filled with anger and hatred. How hateful. Su Jin Huan turned around and cursed at others. A mere housekeeper dares to be so arrogant. When I marry your young master, get ready to pack your bags and leave. Someone shouted loudly, startling Su Jin Huan. Hey, you're blocking the way. If you have a limp, please step aside, okay? She recognized the other person's identity. It was Lin Zia. Su Jin Huan was unhappy in her heart, but she still had to flatter her. Miss Lin, You are truly radiant today. I have to admit, this dress matches young Master Hua very well. You two are truly a match made in heaven. It's enviable. But she thought to herself, just any cat or dog dares to bully me. She smiled smugly. Oh, you really think he and I are a match? Anger was deeply hidden in Zia's eyes. But now, the person by his side is your good sister. Su Qinghuan instantly distanced herself from Su Jinhuan. We weren't born from the same mother. Miss Lin, she is our common enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's be friends. She couldn't believe her ears. You want to be friends with me? Zia then pushed Su Qinghuan to the ground. When bullied by Zia, she dared not resist. Zia didn't even bother with Su Qinghuan. You think you can be my friend? Dream on. She turned around and screamed, "Help! Someone help!" Su Jinhuan and Hua Laikin did not witness the scene where Zia kicked her. Su Qinghuan wailed miserably. It hurt so much. Su Jinhuan didn't believe her. What drama is she acting out now? Su Qinghuan pretended to be weak, hoping to attract attention. I twisted my ankle, lost my balance, and fell down the stairs. Fortunately, there was a thick carpet on the floor, so it was just a superficial injury. Since Hua Laikin is here, it's best to take the opportunity to put on a show. In front of him, Su Qinghuan looked up at Hua Laikin. Su Jinhuan couldn't help but wonder, did she fall on her own, or was she pushed? She saw Zia walking down the stairs. It was not difficult for Su Jinhuan to guess the reason. I told you not to associate with children from rich families. Su Jinhuan dared not mention her. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I fell accidentally. Su Jinhuan was helpless in this situation. You're something else. I admire you. No wonder you can make so many rich friends. You can really endure. But she still kindly reached out to help Su Qinghuan. All right, get up. Su Qinghuan asked about Su Qinghuan's condition. Are you okay? She pretended to be in great pain. Wow, it really hurts. Su Qinghuan deliberately walked unsteadily. A good opportunity had come. She moved towards Hua Laikin. Ouch. He quickly stepped back, causing Su Qinghuan to fall head first onto the ground. Su Jinhuan wanted to curse, but had to restrain herself. Can you be any more shameless? Hua Laikin raised his hands to show his innocence. I didn't touch her. Su Qinghuan trembled all over. It hurt so much. Hua Xiaoxian ran over to check the situation. Qinghuan. Su Qinghuan turned to Hua Xiaoxian to curry favor. Brother Xiaoxianhua. He gently coaxed her. Qinghuan, don't cry anymore. Hua Laikin kindly reminded him. Big brother, you don't know what just happened. This girl is not as simple as you think. She is not suitable for you. Hua Xiaoxian stubbornly refused to listen. Whether she is suitable or not is for me to decide. Qinghuan, let's go. Even Su Jinhuan had to admire her. Su Qinghuan's acting skills are truly superb. As meek as a lamb in front of men, she started a conversation with Hua Laikin. Your big brother's taste is really unusual. He clenched his fists helplessly. My big brother has depression. The more Su Jinhuan listened, the more confused she became. Why would that be? The Hua family is a prestigious family. Hua Xiaoxian was adopted since he was a child, and I heard that Mrs. Hua treats him better than her own son, giving him more money than he can spend. His life is too good. Why would he have depression? Hua Laikin suddenly grabbed Su Jinhuan's hand. Come with me. She wanted to know where they were going. Where are we going? The yacht's decoration style is very modern. She refused Hua Laikin's invitation. No, I can't go with you. I haven't finished dealing with the sponsors yet. He replied coldly. It's not up to you. Hua Laikin skillfully wrapped his arm around Su Jinhuan's waist. She panicked as Hua Laikin carried her away. Hua Laikin, what are you doing? He made an excuse to make Su Jinhuan obey. Don't move, or I'll throw you into the sea to feed the sharks. She hesitated for a moment and finally spoke. You dare. My butt. Su Jinhuan screamed as she was carried on Hua Laikin's shoulder. She was annoyed by Hua Laikin's behavior. Hua Laikin, you bastard. I hate you. Su Jinhuan was surprised when he grabbed her hand. Hua Laikin suddenly gave her a sweet kiss. The bright moonlight witnessed the scene of the two's lips meeting. Su Jinhuan hurriedly reminded him. Hua Laikin, don't do this. Hua Laikin spoke to her frankly. Su Jinhuan, I don't want to hold back anymore. She was more worried about other things. That night was just a one-night stand. We have no relationship. What does he take me for? Xiao Yuan is still waiting in the hospital. I can't make another mistake. Su Jinhuan quickly pushed him away. She ran to another place to avoid embarrassment. Su Jinhuan kept urging Hua Laikin. Turn the yacht back. Hua Laikin gently touched his lips. It's just you and me here. If I wanted to force you, do you think you could escape? Hua Laikin continued to tease Su Jinhuan. Su Jinhuan, you are so naive. But I like it. She would get the wrong idea if he did something wrong. You dare. I'll jump down right now. Su Jinhuan was sure of one thing. No one can force me to do anything I don't want to do. Hua Lycan challenged her to do, as she said. Jump. Jump if you have the guts. Don't say I didn't warn you. There are sharks around this sea area. Su Jinhuan remained optimistic. You don't have to scare me. If there were sharks, the sea wouldn't be so calm. He took another step closer to Su Jinhuan. That's right. I'm just scaring you. Hua Lycan personally assured her. Then do you dare to jump? If you don't dare, then come over obediently. Don't you need money? I can give you as much as you want. Su Jinhuan couldn't help but panic. Wah, Hua Lycan, are you investigating me? He was still being glib. I thought everyone knew about your affairs. Hua Lycan wanted to be your backer. Why do you have to struggle alone? Su Jinhuan, as long as you nod, your needs are my needs, and bullying you is bullying me. Su Jinhuan was speechless. This promise sounded too sweet. Any girl would be moved to hear it. She smiled meaningfully, but Su Jinhuan had her own opinion. Hua Lycan, you have been a child of heaven since you were young. Do you think others don't even have the right to refuse you? Su Jinhuan just wanted to ask Hua Lycan again. Isn't that enough? What else do you want from me? He expressed his feelings sincerely. I've never felt this way about any other girl. You're the only one. She suddenly said goodbye. Well then, thank you for giving me a vivid and interesting experience, huh? Su Jinhuan jumped into the sea. As she said, Hua Lycan panicked and shouted her name. Su Jinhuan. He hurried to the top of the stairs. Damn it, I said there are sharks in this sea. Hua Lycan couldn't hide his panic. Damn it, Su Jinhuan. You're something else. You really have guts. Su Jinhuan still kept her eyes closed underwater. She suddenly opened her eyes and looked around. Su Jinhuan immediately swam forward. I see it. The yacht is right ahead. She didn't understand why she couldn't swim anymore. Su Jinhuan guessed the reason. Is seaweed tangled around my leg? Her legs thrashed under the water. Why can't I break free? Su Jinhuan suddenly choked on water and panicked. It's over. She gradually sank due to exhaustion. I reached my limit for holding my breath. Su Jinhuan didn't know what to do. Am I going to die here? Suddenly, a pair of hands caressed Su Jinhuan's cheeks. As she was drowning, Hua Lycan gave her air. She was embarrassed because she knew it was him. Wah, Hua Lycan. Hua Lycan gently removed the seaweed from her leg. He and Su Jinhuan quickly swam towards the yacht. She took a deep breath and then exhaled. Su Jinhuan sat on the yacht with a sigh of relief. I'm saved. She suddenly thought again. Wait, where's Hua Lycan? Su Jinhuan was confused because she didn't see him on the yacht. Hua Lycan. Two streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. Hua Lycan, where are you? Hua Lycan, don't scare me. Come up quickly. Su Jinhuan tried to stay calm and shouted his name loudly. Hua Lycan. She was caught in hesitation. Hua Lycan, I should hate him. Su Jinhuan couldn't stop her tears. Hua Lycan, you bastard. But he saved me again and again. Paul. She actually wanted to jump into the sea again. Hua Lycan, you must not have an accident. Wait for me. I'm coming to save you. You too. Hua Lycan's hand gripped the yacht tightly. Su Jinhuan was a little surprised. Wah, Hua Lycan. She asked softly. Are you okay? Su Jinhuan hit him hard, as if expressing her feelings. You bastard. Where did you go? You scare me to death. Hua Lycan teased her. So, you know how to worry about me too? I thought you were really indifferent to me. Su Jinhuan explained awkwardly. Who's worried about you? I'm worried about myself. What would I do if you died? I don't know how to drive a boat. Before she could react, Hua Lycan gave Su Jinhuan a sweet kiss. Bubbles of love surrounded the two's kiss. She didn't know what to say. Hua Lycan, you. Su Jinhuan sneezed from being in the water for too long. Hua Lycan was worried about her condition. You're hurt. He picked Su Jinhuan up. There's a bathroom and clothes in the ship's living room. Go change. The yacht's living room had a modern decoration style. She was shivering all over. Hua Lycan put the medicine into Su Jinhuan's mouth. This is fever-reducing medicine. Take it. He always treated her considerately. Drink some warm water too. Be good. Su Jinhuan snatched the water glass angrily. Don't treat me like a pet. Hua Lycan didn't understand what was going on in her mind. Why do you have such strange thoughts? Su Jinhuan realized his intentions were not simple. Isn't this a trick of you rich people? Treating women like toys. He approached her. Your imagination is really rich. Su Jinhuan blushed slightly and looked at Hua Lycan shyly. It's just that you're too forgetful. You've already forgotten what you said at the club last night so quickly. Hua Lycan asked in confusion. What did I say? Su Jinhuan felt it was impossible to explain and turned away angrily. Hua Lycan approached and asked gently, what on earth did I say that has made you angry until now? He paused, seeming to realize something. Looking at the sleeping Su Jinhuan, he thought to himself, she's asleep, curled up in the blanket like a caterpillar. Hualiken sighed and chuckled to himself. Cute. Thinking this, he stood up and gently picked up Su Jinhuan's dress from the chair. Hualiken walked into the bathroom and turned on the faucet. He carefully and thoughtfully washed Su Jinhuan's dress. Suddenly, Hualiken's gaze fell on something. It turned out to be Su Jinhuan's underwear in the pile of clothes. He froze, staring blankly, thinking, so small. Suddenly, Hualiken froze. His cheeks flushed red, and he thought, I possessed? Hualiken was embarrassed and told himself, what am I thinking? Hualiken, you're really something. After a while, Su Jinhuan's clothes were carefully hung up by him. Hualiken stood in front of the sleeping Su Jinhuan, thinking, sleeping so defenselessly, do you trust me that much? His hand reached out and gently caressed her rosy cheek. Hualiken carefully approached Su Jinhuan. I can't help but want to teach you a lesson. He moved closer to her hair and teased her gently. Suddenly, Hualiken became nervous and clenched his fists. He stood up and covered his flushed face with his hands. Hualiken sighed, looking embarrassed. Forget it. It seems I can only rely on my own 2 hands. Just then, Su Jinhuan frowned slightly and cried out softly. She sat up and asked urgently, what time is it? Suddenly, Su Jinhuan heard a slight moan from the side. She turned her head to look. Hualiken frowned slightly. His cheeks flushed and his breathing was heavy. His body trembled slightly as he moaned softly. Suddenly seeing Su Jinhuan's eyes, he was startled and blushed. You're awake. Su Jinhuan was stunned, her eyes wide open. What Su Jinhuan saw before her was Hualiken's eggplant. She was shocked, her face turning red with embarrassment. Eggplant? The next second, Su Jinhuan's piercing scream rang out. Hualiken, you're so shameless. Over here, in the villa, the golden sunlight shone warmly on the scene. Xiaoxian held Su Qingwan's hand tightly. He couldn't bear to leave her. Qingwan. Su Qingwan also called his name softly. Xiaoxian. She secretly lamented in her heart. What a pity I heard that Xiaoxian is just an adopted son. If only he were the biological son of the Hua family. She began to shed tears. There's something I have to tell you, Xiaoxian. Let's break up. Hua Xiaoxian was struck by lightning and hurriedly asked for the reason. Why? We've always been fine. I said I would marry you. I will be responsible. Su Qingwan looked pitiful and raised her hand to wipe away her tears. Don't you understand? We were originally from 2 different worlds. I'm not good enough for you. Please let go. Hua Xiaoxian worriedly grabbed her hand and asked, did my family say something to you? She immediately shook off his hand and explained, I just saw my own identity clearly. Xiaoxian, I wish you happiness in the future. The next second, Su Qingwan turned and left. Hua Xiaoxian desperately kept calling her name. Qingwan, Qingwan. However, the only answer he got was the resolute sound of the door closing. Su Qingwan returned home, feeling unusually cheerful and relaxed. Mrs. Su asked curiously, what's wrong? Su Qingwan sat calmly in a chair. She crossed her arms and answered in a confident voice, Mom, didn't you want me to marry into a wealthy family? Soon, you will realize that dream. When Mrs. Su heard this, her eyes lit up and she asked eagerly, really? Are you going to become a couple with the eldest young master of the Hua family? Su Qingwan's face showed obvious disdain. How could it be him? He's just an adopted son. Su Qingwan recounted to Mrs. Su. Mrs. Hua hates Su Jinhuan very much. She has already said that as long as I help her break them up, she will not treat me unfairly. If I can help her get rid of Su Jinhuan, she will definitely agree to me marrying into the Hua family. Mrs. Su hugged her tightly with joy. Oh my goodness, Qingwan, you are so amazing. You are truly my daughter. What did I say? My daughter is destined to be the wife of a wealthy family. So I can also become a noble lady of a prestigious family. Su Qingwan smiled with a calculating look. Happiness is something you have to fight for yourself. Of course, I have to be superior. A sinister light flickered in her eyes. I must think of a plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. On Su Jinhuan's side, she had just woken up from a good night's sleep. She sat on the bed sulking, thinking. Last night, I was actually thinking about Hualiken doing that, which made me fall asleep again at 2 in the morning. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded, stunning Su Jinhuan. You're awake. Hualiken walked over with a bowl of porridge and asked with concern, are you hungry? I cooked porridge, have some. He placed the bowl of porridge next to her. Su Jinhuan asked unexpectedly, you can cook porridge too? She stared suspiciously at the bowl of porridge in front of her. Hualiken sat next to her and tried to reassure her. It won't poison you. he threatened in a low voice. This is the first time I've been in the kitchen. If you dare to dislike it, I'll throw you into the sea to feed the sharks. Su Jinhuan gently stirred the steaming porridge on the table. See, apple, bite by bite. Hee hee. This is really the style of a rich young master cooking porridge. The ingredients are all luxury items. There's almost more seafood than rice. Hualiken was confused. What are you laughing at? Is it that funny that I cooked porridge for you? Su Jinhuan looked at him with a bright smile on her face. No, I'm just too happy. When I was sick before, no one ever cooked porridge for me. She scooped up a spoonful of hot porridge and blew on it gently. As soon as she took the first bite, Su Jinhuan exclaimed in surprise. So delicious. She ate happily, full of praise. So delicious. The shrimp is springy, and the taste is fresh and rich. Hualiken said, softly, in embarrassment. Your past days have been too hard. I want. His hand reached out, holding Su Jinhuan's face. Hualiken confessed seriously. Be my girlfriend. Su Jinhuan's eyes widened in surprise. What? She thought to herself, did I hear that right? Hualiken held her and repeated it again. Su Jinhuan, I'm serious. Be my girlfriend. Su Jinhuan looked at him hesitantly. Her heart was in a turmoil. Is he serious? Hualiken smiled faintly and announced domineeringly. You didn't say anything, so I'll take that as a yes. After speaking, he suddenly leaned over and planted a kiss on her lips. The kiss deepened, and Su Jinhuan struggled to push him away. Bang! Hualiken pulled back and asked in confusion. What's wrong? Su Jinhuan explained awkwardly. I was too shocked to say it in time. I don't. Hualiken asked worriedly. You mean you're rejecting me? Su Jinhuan avoided his gaze. If I did anything to make you think I was interested in you, I'm sorry. The hand that was holding Su Jinhuan's tightly, gently let go. Hualiqing turned his back and left. Su Jinhuan sighed sadly. He must be very angry. She walked to the balcony, looked into the distance, and thought, after what I said to him, he must have lost all face and hates me to death. Suddenly, Su Jinhuan realized something was wrong. Wait, where did my underwear go? She hurriedly bent down to look for it, thinking, could it have been blown away by the wind? Suddenly, a loud shout of Su Jinhuan made her freeze. Huh? Hualiqing quickly grabbed Su Jinhuan's hand and pulled her back. What are you doing? He scolded loudly, both reprimanding and worried. Did you think you could escape me by jumping into the sea? You're so weak. You even had a fever last night. Are you trying to die? Su Jinhuan hurriedly explained. Do you think I want to jump into the sea? Do I look like someone who would do that? Hualiqing let go of her and turned away. In any case, if you don't want to see me, just say the word, and Hualiqing, will not bother you again. Su Jinhuan explained awkwardly. It's not about you, it's my underwear is missing. Only then did Hualiqing freeze, glancing down at her. He turned and glared at her. You don't think I hid your underwear, do you? What do you take me for? A pervert? Su Jinhuan's face turned bright red. She grumbled to herself. Who can blame me when you did such suspicious things last night? Hualiqing pulled her into the room. Don't worry, if I wanted it, I would ask for it directly to your face. I've already asked room service to look for it. They'll bring it to you. Su Jinhuan was still very shy. There's no need. After a long while, the two finally set foot on the beach. Su Jinhuan breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, finally on shore, the feeling of solid ground is so reassuring. Hualiqing thoughtfully approached and draped his coat over her shoulders. It's windy here. Let me take you to the hospital. Su Jinhuan immediately refused. No need. Thank you, Hualiqing. She thought, now that we're off the boat, let's go our separate ways. Su Jinhuan lowered her eyes, telling herself, if I don't want to get too involved with him, it's best to part ways. Thinking of this, she quickly left. Hualiqing stood behind her, watching her retreating figure with regret. This woman, she really knows how to make me angry. Su Jinhuan, are you really this heartless? Hualiqing frowned, silently pleading. Turn back. Su Jinhuan, if you just turn back, I'll rush forward and hold you without hesitation. But she walked straight into a taxi. Su Jinhuan decisively closed the car door. Seeing this, Hualiqing's face darkened, and he swore in his heart. Su Jinhuan, you've got guts. If I ever look for you again, I'm a dog. Su Jinhuan looked out the taxi window, softly calling his name, Hualiqing. She was heartbroken tears streaming down her cheeks. If Xiao Yuan wasn't sick, I definitely wouldn't be hesitating like this. But Xiao Yuan is still fighting for his life. How can I allow myself to get into a relationship at a time like this? Su Jinhuan raised her hand and gently wiped away her tears. Right now, I need to control my heart. After regaining her composure, her eyes shone with a determined light. I don't have the strength to bear the joys and sorrows of love. I can't fall for him. In a house, lights flickered in the night. Su Jinhuan returned. She gently opened the door and went inside. Mrs. Su noticed immediately. She was playing mahjong with her friends, and seeing Su Jinhuan pass by, she said sarcastically, "Daughters these days are so hard to manage, not coming home all night and returning in a man's clothes." Mrs. Su continued to complain. As a stepmother, how would I dare to ask? Su Qinghuan approached. "Whose coat are you wearing?" She stood in front of Su Jinhuan and said mockingly, "Sister, I've told you before, don't hang out with those shady men. If you accidentally get pregnant, don't say you don't know who the father is." Su Jinhuan ignored her, brushing past Su Qinghuan. "Move, don't act crazy in front of me." She frowned in displeasure, and Su Qinghuan immediately fainted to the ground. Ouch. Su Qinghuan turned her head, her eyes shining with feigned pity. "Sister, I was just concerned about you." Seeing this, Mrs. Su's friends started gossiping. "Qinghuan is right. A girl should have some self-respect. Even if you don't want to listen, you can't just push someone. You're sisters, after all. How can the older sister be so cruel?" Mrs. Su stood up abruptly, saying angrily, "Su Jinhuan, you've gone too far." She glared at Su Jinhuan. Mrs. Su rushed over, raising her hand to slap her. "Even if I get a reputation as a wicked stepmother today, I'm going to teach you a lesson." A hand quickly grabbed Mrs. Su's hand. Su Jinhuan looked at her coldly, warning, "You dare touch me. Don't think I won't fight back." Mrs. Su clenched her fists, her face darkening. You have no respect for your elders, no manners at all." Her friends immediately gathered around. "This child, a stepmother, is still a mother. How can you be so unfilial?" Su Jinhuan crossed her arms, fearless, that a person who framed my biological mother with an affair to drive her out of the house, a mistress who then took her place. Would you call her mother? She pointed at Su Qinghuan sitting on the stairs. There's less than half a year's age difference between her and me. Anyone with a brain can figure out. Su Jinhuan turned to leave, not forgetting a parting shot. "Of course, if you enjoy being friends with a third party, then I have nothing more to say." Hearing this, Mrs. Su's friends immediately started packing their things to leave. Mrs. Su, I didn't expect you to be such a despicable person. I don't think we're suited to be friends. Goodbye. Mrs. Su hurriedly tried to stop them. "Don't listen to that little brat's nonsense. It's a misunderstanding." But no one believed Mrs. Su. As they walked away, they said, "A misunderstanding? Do you take us for fools? Mistresses these days are so shameless. I hate mistresses the most. Don't contact me again. Let's go." Su Jinhuan glanced at the scene and chuckled softly. "Humph, that's what you call getting what you deserve." Her phone vibrated. The caller ID showed director. She answered the call. Su Jinhuan spoke first. "Hello, director." The person on the other end shouted, "Do you even want this job anymore? You disappeared for a whole day. Don't think you can just skip work because you have young Master Huang backing you. We can't afford to." And then the other person hung up. Su Jinhuan looked at the phone in her hand and frowned. "Sister, he wasn't there that day, and Xiao Hong volunteered to ask for leave for me. But this is the result." Her eyes dimmed. "My living expenses have already been cut off. I can't lose this job." The next day at work, Xiao Hong rushed over, her hands pressed together in apology. "Xiao Su, I'm so sorry. My boyfriend suddenly broke up with me, and I forgot to ask for leave for you." Su Jinhuan calmly applied her lipstick. "That it was my own responsibility in the first place. I can't blame others for my own failure. It's okay." She closed her lipstick, turned to her with a slight smile. "I'm going to work now." Xiao Hong waved goodbye. "Bye. See you later." The next second, her attitude changed. TSK. Xiao Hong turned around, looked in the mirror, and thought, "I really don't get what young Master Huang sees in her, protecting her like that. She's just a little pretty. What's so great about that?" A figure outside the door heard everything she said. It was Su Jinhuan. She quickly walked away. Because she was walking too fast, she accidentally bumped into someone. The person staggered, and Su Jinhuan quickly warned, "Hey, be careful." It turned out to be Xiao Xian, who was dead drunk. Su Jinhuan quickly supported him. "Alcohol. I want a drink. Give me alcohol." After getting a clear look at him, she was surprised. Wow, was Xiao Xian. Su Jinhuan's eyes widened, and she asked urgently, "It's you? Why are you so drunk?" She remembered Mrs. Hua saying in an interview that she was drawn to Hua Xiaoxian the first time she saw him at the orphanage. Hua Xiaoxian slowly opened his eyes, breathing heavily. Su Jinhuan observed his eyes, because Hua Xiaoxian's eyes were very similar to hers. They're a bit similar. Both are beautiful phoenix eyes. He suddenly hugged Su Jinhuan, mistaking her for someone else in his drunken state. "Qinghuan, don't leave me. I like you so much. I really like you so much. I'm begging you." Su Jinhuan quickly pushed Hua Xiaoxian away. "Young Master Hua, you've got the wrong person. I'm not Su Qinghuan. I'm Su Jinhuan, let go." But he wouldn't listen and still tried to hug her. "Qinghuan, don't leave me. Don't break up with me." Su Jinhuan tried to explain while pushing him away. "You really have the wrong person. Let me go." In the distance, Hua Liqing was walking over, having returned to this place at some point. He thought absent-mindedly, "I was just looking for some fun, not looking for her." But suddenly his eyes widened. Before him were Su Jinhuan and Hua Xiaoxian. He subconsciously called out, "Su Jinhuan." Hua Liqing's face darkened. Su Jinhuan panicked, recognizing him. Hua Xiaoxian lunged forward to kiss her. "I like you. I want to marry you. Come back to the Hua family with me." Su Jinhuan struggled to avoid him. "Don't." Hua Liqing clenched his fists. He said displeasedly, "So this is the reason you rejected me?" He quickly turned and left, making Su Jinhuan even more flustered. "It's not like that. You misunderstood." Hua Liqing. Beside her, a drunken Hua Xiaoxian pleaded, "I'll listen to you. I'll listen to whatever you say. If you tell me not to donate the bone marrow, I won't." Hearing this, Su Jinhuan couldn't believe her ears and asked curiously, "What did you say? You were originally going to donate bone marrow to a child with leukemia?" Xiaoxian rested his head on her shoulder, pleading repeatedly, "I won't donate, Qinghuan, I won't donate, just don't leave me." Su Jinhuan was so emotional that tears streamed down her face. "It's Hua Xiaoxian, so he's the donor," and he changed his mind because of Su Qinghuan's request. Suddenly, two bodyguards came over and helped Hua Xiaoxian up. Su Jinhuan asked sharply, "Hey, what are you doing?" One of the bodyguards supporting him turned and replied, "The young master ordered us to take Hua Xiaoxian away." Su Jinhuan hurriedly chased after them. "Wait." She stopped, watching the bodyguards put Hua Xiaoxian into the car. "Wait a minute about the bone marrow donation." Suddenly, Su Jinhuan was blocked. Before her was Hua Liqing's furious face, and she called out softly, "Hua Liqing." She quickly pleaded with him, "Hua Liqing, please move aside. I'll explain to you later." Hua Liqing gripped Su Jinhuan's hand tightly, "That I won't let you get near him." She struggled to get away. "What are you saying? It hurts. Let go of me." Hua Liqing looked at Su Jinhuan in pain. "I thought after yesterday, you would be different towards me." A bodyguard stood behind him, greeting respectfully, "Young master." Hua Liqing ordered, "Take the eldest young master home." The bodyguard replied, "Yes." Su Jinhuan pushed Hua Liqing away forcefully. "Let go of me, Hua Liqing. You didn't even ask for my opinion." He frowned and quickly pulled her into a tight embrace. He gently swept Su Jinhuan into his arms, and she shouted, "Ah, what are you doing?" In a luxurious grand hotel in the city. In the room, a scream rang out. "Ah?" Su Jinhuan was thrown harshly onto the bed. "What are you trying to do?" Hua Liqing's hands came down, trapping her beneath him. "Why?" His face showed pain and despair. "Why, my brother?" Hua Liqing pinched Su Jinhuan's chin, his tone mixed with sorrow. "I am the true heir of the Hua family. I can give you anything you want. Do you hate me that much?" Su Jinhuan slapped his hand away and shouted anxiously, "I hate you. Yes, I hate you very much." She looked at him coldly. "Is being rich that great? I hate you more than anyone. I hate you the most." Hearing Su Jinhuan tell him to get lost, Hua Liqing lowered his eyes move. As she stood up, Hua Liqing grabbed her shoulders and questioned, "Su Jinhuan, do you hate me so much that you choose my brother?" Hua Liqing's face was dark as he said angrily, "Is he better at satisfying you in bed than I am?" Su Jinhuan turned her head in shock, shouting, "What are you talking about?" She thought, no wonder they say the most hurtful words often come from the person you care about the most. She raised her foot and kicked Hua Liqing in the chest. "Hua Liqing, go to hell." Su Jinhuan's face fell, and she said furiously, I never want to see you again. Ignoring the pain, Hua Liqing propped himself up and said, Never want to see me again? Well, I'm a customer at your establishment now, and I want you to serve me. Su Jinhuan took a step back and calmed down, saying, Young Master Hua, if you wish, there are plenty of beautiful women outside waiting to serve you. Hua Liqing crossed his arms, emphasizing each word, I only want you. Although angry, Su Jinhuan managed to smile. Fine, I understand. I'll go get you a drink right away. She thought, I'm going to get the most expensive kind and really make him pay. Now the table was filled with many bottles, and Hua Liqing was still drinking. As Su Jinhuan poured, she reminded him, You're drinking too much. Are you trying to get alcohol poisoning? She thought, I wanted him to drink expensive liquor so I could get a bigger commission, but drinking like this is too harmful. Hua Liqing swirled his glass and sighed. What right do you have to control me? Su Jinhuan felt guilty and held the bottle, saying, Even if you were a stranger, I would advise against drinking like this. Hua Liqing shouted in shock, A stranger? He felt hurt, thinking, In your heart, am I just a stranger? He slammed the glass on the table and ordered, Pour. Su Jinhuan looked at the bottle and said, It's empty. I'll go get another one. Hua Liqing watched her leave in silence. Suddenly, Hua Liqing's face turned pale, and he clutched his stomach, groaning, Ugh. Assistant Chen peeked in and asked, Young master? He said worriedly, Young master, are you trying to kill yourself? You already have a bad stomach. Why are you drinking so much? Hua Liqing's brows were tightly furrowed, clearly in great discomfort. Assistant Chen reported carefully, I've looked into it. 3 days ago, Miss Su asked her colleague Xiao Hong to request leave for her. Xiao Hong failed to do so, and the manager got angry, forcing her to come to work tonight. This Xiao Hong has a notoriously bad character and often gives her colleagues a hard time. And that manager is also always harsh on Miss Su. Hua Liqing crossed his arms and said coldly, You know how to handle this, right? Assistant Chen quickly replied, Yes, I understand. Assistant Chen reminded him worriedly, Young master, you want to see Miss Su and you don't want her working elsewhere, but you don't have to torture your own stomach with alcohol. Hua Liqing angrily picked up a piece of fruit from the table and threw it, saying, Who said I'm doing this for her? Do I need a reason to drink? Assistant Chen caught the fruit and muttered while eating, Yes, the deeper the love, the deeper the hate. This hate will last for an eternity. Hua Liqing remained silent, giving him a cold glance. Seeing this look, Assistant Chen quickly excused himself, saying, Miss Su is back. I'll be leaving now. Young master, Su Jinhuan poured the wine into the glass. Hua Liqing calmly downed the glass in one gulp. Then he put the glass down heavily. He rubbed his forehead and muttered, Ugh, what's happening? Hua Liqing frowned tightly and asked, My head is so dizzy. What did you put in the drink? Su Jinhuan said seriously, Do you want more? Hua Liqing held his head with one hand, panting, Ugh, you dare to drug me. Su Jinhuan reached out to support him. Assistant Chen told me you have a bad stomach. She gently supported him, saying with concern, If you keep drinking, I'm afraid you'll die here. Then she laid him down. Su Jinhuan propped herself up, looked at him, and said, It's just a strong sleeping pill. Get some rest. Hua Liqing grabbed Su Jinhuan's hand, weakly calling her name, Su Jinhuan. He frowned, covered in sweat, and muttered, You're not allowed to leave. Seeing this, Su Jinhuan sighed helplessly, thinking, This young man is so domineering even in his sleep. She leaned down, close to his face, and said softly, Hua Liqing, give me some time. Wait for me, okay? Finally, she wiped her tears and called for Assistant Chen, saying, Assistant Chen, come in. Su Jinhuan thought in surprise, Why can't I pull it out? She tried to pull her hand free with force, thinking, Is he really asleep? Why is his grip so tight? Assistant Chen came over and said, It's okay, let me. Su Jinhuan replied, a bit embarrassed, I'm sorry, I might have used too much of the drug. He'll probably sleep until tomorrow. Then she turned to leave, reminding him, Assistant Chen, I'll leave young Master Hua to you. I'm going back to work. He immediately explained, Miss Su, you may not believe this, but you are the young master's first love. He always acts impulsively, domineering, and aggressive, but I believe it's because he cares about you too much. If any of his actions have made you uncomfortable, I hope you can understand. Hearing this, Su Jinhuan was completely unmoved and replied, Everyone has many choices and tasks in their life. Love is just a small part of it. Assistant Chen could only reply in disappointment. You have a point. He looked at the unconscious Hua Liqing and said, Young master, this is enough. Madame Hua has already arranged who will be the young mistress. Su Jin Huan left silently, but her heart still ached a little. She reminded herself, Su Jin Huan, it's time for you to wake up too. She closed her eyes and thought, no one will wait for you forever. Just then, another colleague hurried over to inform her, Xiao Su, there's a small adjustment in HR. You're to go help at the front desk now. Su Jinhuan asked, a little surprised. Why? She thought, the front desk doesn't get as much commission as the reception department. The colleague smiled and replied, it's just a temporary replacement. You'll be compensated. It won't be less than what you're earning now. Besides, the front desk is nice. It's easy, comfortable, and free. Go on. Hearing this, she happily agreed, saying, okay. Su Jinhuan followed behind, wondering, how strange. How did such a good thing fall into my lap? She still said happily, let's go. I'll take you there. Finally, the two arrived at the front desk. She quickly took out her phone and sent a text message saying, Nguyen Yu, I found out. Su Jinhuan told Nguyen Yu all the information. The donor is the Hua family's eldest son, Xiaoxian. It was Su Qinghuan who stopped him from donating. Nguyen Yu quickly replied, you found out so fast. You truly are the best. Nguyen Yu happily comforted her. Don't worry. Money is not an issue. I have money here. As long as the surgery can be done, I'll help you raise enough. Thank you. We are sisters in this life and the next. Hearing this, she was very moved, thinking, isn't Nguyen Yu a compensation from heaven for me? Su Jinhuan thought, with such a close friend, I shouldn't be greedy and ask for more. Just then, Assistant Chun was helping Hua Liqing down from upstairs. She pretended not to see, but her mind was wandering, thinking, it's still a bit awkward. Hua Liqing uncomfortably tried to speak. Su Jinhuan, you heartless woman, this young master will never bother with you again. He asserted, if I ever bother with you again, I'm a dog. Seeing her standing there, Assistant Chun hurriedly explained, he's talking nonsense. Just talking nonsense. Miss Su, please don't mind him. He looked at him, thinking, the young master must be pretending to be asleep. Su Jinhuan spoke up. The truest words are spoken in dreams. I hope your young master remembers what he said and doesn't become a puppy. Assistant Chun smiled awkwardly and helped Hua Liqing leave, thinking, awkward, this is so awkward. Just then, Su Jinhuan's phone received a notification. When you sent her a message, my aunt has a way to contact Hua Xiaoxian. If Su Qinghuan wants to be cruel, then don't blame us for being unjust. We'll start with Hua Xiaoxian first. After reading it, she thought, judging from Hua Xiaoxian's drunken words. On Hua Liqing's side, it was already morning. In his daze, his mind was filled with her, Su Jinhuan. A voice sounded by his ear. Liqing, you're awake? Hua Liqing sat up abruptly, asking in confusion, Lin Xia, what are you doing here? Lin Xia smiled shyly and brought over a bowl of soup, saying, I came to visit Auntie and happened to see Assistant Chun bringing you back. Auntie asked me to stay and take care of you. Hangovers give you a headache. Have some hangover soup. He shouted angrily. Get out. She was startled. Lin Xia hurriedly chased after him, shouting, Liqing, wait. Hua Liqing said loudly and slowly, Butler. The butler came out and answered, Young master. He rubbed his head in discomfort and ordered, from now on, don't take matters into your own hands and bring unsavory women before me. Hearing this, she smiled and replied, Young master, Miss Lin is not some unsavory woman. She is the future wife that Madam has chosen for you. Hearing this, Hua Liqing said seriously, who I want to marry is my business. She wants to have a wedding? Then I support her remarrying. He said unhappily, if I don't even have this much freedom, then I'd rather not be a member of the Hua family. Seeing this, Jenny hurriedly reminded him, Young master, you mustn't say that. Madam will be angry. You are her biological son. She cares about you very much. Li Ju walked in leisurely, not forgetting to add, when my brother and I were sick as children, she only stayed by his side. He turned his head to look back, emphasizing, now that I'm grown up, she's even stricter with me. Jenny hurriedly explained, it's not like that. But before she could finish her sentence, Li Ju slammed the door shut with a bang. She said with some helplessness, Young master. The woman by the bed said sadly, Xiao Chuan, my poor child. After hearing Jenny's report, she asked with some displeasure, he wants to decide his own marriage. Is that really what Li Ju said? She answered cautiously. The young master also said that if he doesn't even have this much freedom, he'd rather not be a member of the Hua family. She grabbed the hand of her son, lying on the hospital bed, and said sternly, who doesn't want freedom? I want it too. I also long for freedom. She particularly emphasized everything he has today was given to him by the whole family. Marriage is a major event, so naturally, the family's interests must come first. Otherwise, wouldn't that be ungrateful? Then she calmed herself, took a deep breath, and said, Mom knows he's had his first taste of love. As a man, it's inevitable to be impulsive and restless. Mrs. Hua instructed, go and arrange things with Lin Zia. The old master values this marriage greatly. There can't be any mistakes. Jenny replied, yes. What about the young master's side? She said without hesitation, he wants freedom. Let's see if he can escape the old master's grasp. It's not that simple. Inside the whole corporation, a loud voice was heard. Ingji, where are you? Li Ju rushed into the company like a gust of wind, shouting, Shun Anji. Ingji cautiously replied, young master is here. I just made you a cup of coffee. He walked over in a bad mood and said irritably, you were the one who brought me back yesterday, right? Put it down and come spar with me. He backed away nervously, making excuses. Young master, I just finished eating. It's not suitable for exercise. If you want to fight, I'll call the bodyguards for you. Before he could slip away, Li Ju grabbed his hand, pulled hard, and said, you really are full and have nothing better to do. He exuded a murderous aura and commanded, spit out everything you know. Ingji cried out in pain, ah, young master, have mercy. Fortunately, the phone rang like a lifeline. He quickly reminded him, young master, there's a call. You should take it first. Business is more important. Seeing this, Li Ju stopped and said unhappily, humph, I'll spare you. Ingji quickly answered the phone, hello, yes. He looked very surprised by what he heard on the phone. Ingji turned around in a panic and reported, young master, something has happened in the living room. A voice said her phone isn't being answered, and her family said she didn't come home last night, but her workplace confirmed she left work as usual yesterday. Wan Yu narrated anxiously, we haven't been able to contact her recently. The person closest to Su Tua is your president. Ingji secretly glanced at Li Ju's expression and replied, all right, we know. You can go back first. Wan Yu became more agitated, rushing over to ask, Su Jinhuan's phone can still be reached, but no one is answering. Something must have happened to her. I'll be direct. Did you hide her? Ingji quickly held her back and instructed, stop making a scene and go home to wait for news. Security, please escort Wan Yu home. Wan Yu couldn't calm down and shouted, what? Let go of me. I want to find Su Ta-He. Seeing Li Ju leave calmly, Ingji thought with some surprise, is the young master going to intervene in this matter? Li Ju began to give orders. Take people to retrieve all the camera footage within a 100-mile radius. Search every corner. Investigate everyone. Ingji quickly handed over a bag, saying, young master, this is Su Tuo's handbag. He pointed to the captured woman and explained, this woman, named Xiao Hong, used Miss Su's phone to make multiple purchases outside and was caught on the spot by our people. Xiao Hong trembled with fear, trying to explain, young master Hua, this has nothing to do with me. Su Jinhuan was kidnapped. I just happened to be passing by and picked up her bag. It really has nothing to do with me. Li Ju became even more furious upon hearing this. You saw her being kidnapped and just left as if nothing happened, not even bothering to call the police. Xiao Hong collapsed on the floor, crying and shouting. Those people were dressed in black and blocked the nightclub entrance with their car. They dragged Su Jinhuan into the car and left. I'm just a weak woman. I couldn't do anything. Wow. Just then, Ingji arrived with the equipment and reported, young master, we've retrieved the surveillance footage from outside the nightclub. He observed the camera and said, indeed, when Miss Su was leaving work, she was blatantly pulled into a car. Jinhuan struggled and shouted, who are you? Help! Seeing this, Li Ju was filled with worry. He enlarged the screen to check the license plate. Upon closer inspection, his face darkened, and he said unhappily, the Lin family. At this moment, in a Lin family mansion, a voice was heard. Lin Zia walked over happily and said with a smile, are you here to see me? Li Ju gripped her hand tightly, emphasizing Lin Zia. He said with murderous intent, tell me, where is Su Jinhuan? Upon hearing this, Zia shouted emotionally, Su Jinhuan, you came to me for her? You've already been cruel enough to me, and now you're going to humiliate me for another woman. A bodyguard stepped forward to intervene. Young Master Hua, please let go of our young lady. Whatever it is, let's sit down and talk properly. Ingji quickly presented the evidence, replying, the surveillance footage shows the Lin family's car taking Miss Su away. We just want to know where she is. Miss Lin, why must you do this? Zia pulled her hand back and said, the woman you're looking for isn't here. Even if you kill me, it won't change anything. As soon as she finished speaking, Li Ju grabbed her by the neck. He had lost his patience and replied, "Very well." Zia was being choked and couldn't speak. Li Ju didn't want to waste time and said, "You won't talk, will you? Then you can die." The bodyguard shouted in terror, "Let go of our young lady." Ingji rushed forward to stop him, shouting, "Young master, you can't do this." Ingji repeated, "You can't, young master. Miss Lin, just tell him. When our young master gets angry, he's capable of anything." The bodyguard said unhappily, "Are you crazy? If you really want to persuade her, let me through." Zia struggled to breathe, forcing out each word. Gasp, gasp. "I've loved you for so many years. What's so bad about me?" Gasp. "How am I inferior to that bitch?" Seeing her in a bad state, the bodyguard immediately confessed, "Let go of our young lady. Su Jinhuan is currently tied up on the west beach at the pier. The weather forecast says there's a high tide today." Hearing this, Li Ju released his grip. He immediately turned to leave, commanding to the pier. Ingji acknowledged the order and replied, "Yes." Zia collapsed to the ground, struggling to breathe, cough, 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 gasp, gasp. Before leaving, Li Ju didn't forget to threaten, "If a single hair on Su Jinhuan's head is harmed, I will make you pay a painful price." At the pier, by now, the sky was getting dark and the tide began to rise. Jinhuan slowly opened her eyes. She felt her surroundings so cold. Seeing that she was tied up, she shouted, "Help, help!" The sky was already dark and the seawater began to rise. Jinhuan could only cry for help helplessly. "Help!" The seawater submerged her, and Jinhuan was terrified. "Am I really going to die here?" She thought of the people she loved, Xiao Yuan, Wan Yu, and the man she loved, Huo Li Ju. Jinhuan was submerged in the water, unable to struggle or cry for help. A car suddenly stopped, and Li Ju shouted frantically, "Su Jinhuan, Su Jinhuan." Ingji worriedly tried to stop him. "Young master, it's too dangerous. Don't go over there. We've already called the rescue team." But he was yelled at, "Get out of the way." Li Ju was stunned, his eyes wide, watching her sink in the water. Li Ju shouted with concern, "Su Jinhuan." He jumped into the water, constantly calling for Su Jinhuan. Ingji noticed and said, "She's tied up." "Young master, I have a small knife here." Li Ju urged, "Hurry up." He reached out, cupped her pale face, and called out silently, "Su Jinhuan." He kept reassuring himself, "Hold on." Then he kissed her, giving her air. The rope was cut, and Ingji shouted happily, "It's cut." Jinhuan was carried out of the water, gasping for air. Li Ju looked at her gently, as if all his worries had been lifted. "Su Jinhuan, thank God. I'm so lucky you're still alive." Jinhuan looked at him and forced a reassuring smile. "I almost died." Li Ju picked her up. He kissed her forehead and comforted her. "I'm here. It's okay now. Go to sleep." And he shouted at his assistant to the hospital. Ingji replied, "Yes, young master, madam." He made a call outside the hospital room. Someone on the other end of the line scolded, "Assistant Shun, what kind of job are you doing? I told you to watch the young master, but you let him cause such big trouble. How am I supposed to explain this to the Lin family now?" Ingji said remorsefully, "I'm sorry. It was my incompetence." He thought wearily, being caught between these two all these years. "I'm neither friend nor foe." The person on the phone asked, "What is the young master doing?" Ingji said seriously, "Madam, it's a long story. The Lin family's bodyguards kidnapped Miss Su and almost killed her. The young master is very angry." The person's tone was calm. "She only almost died. Is it worth him being so angry?" Ingji said helplessly, "Miss Su is seriously injured. The young master has already ordered for the Lin family to be completely ruined and unable to stay in Jinsheng anymore. He's serious this time. I've never seen him this angry." The other end of the line was silent for a moment, then hung up. Ingji let out a long, weary sigh. Over here, Li Ju was worriedly treating Jinhuan's wound. "The wound is infected. Bear with it." She hissed in pain. Jinhuan glanced at his gentle expression. Li Ju carefully bandaged her wound. Suddenly, Jinhuan sighed and said, "Thinking about it now, last night a drunkard looked at me and said, if he still cared about me, he'd be a dog." An image of Li Ju with puppy ears and a tail, barking, appeared. Li Ju cupped her face in his hands. "Su Jinhuan," he blushed with embarrassment but still raised his voice. "You drugged me last night. I haven't settled the score with you yet. Are you tired of living?" Jinhuan couldn't help but laugh. It made his face even redder. "Still laughing? You look like a puffer fish right now." Li Ju brought his face close to hers. Their eyes met. He placed a gentle kiss on her lips. Jinhuan looked at him, blushing. She thought, "Holy Ju, he really cares about me. He's worried about me." Then she cupped his face, marveling inwardly. "I must have saved the galaxy in my past life." Jinhuan thanked him in her heart, then leaned in to kiss him. To have met him in this life, Li Ju was unexpectedly stunned. This was the first time Su Jinhuan had initiated a kiss. She smiled brightly. I've apologized. Will you forgive me? Li Ju seized the opportunity, pouncing on her for a deep kiss. Just this, and you think you can appease me? You underestimate me. The two kissed passionately. Ingji walked in and was startled by the scene. He quietly left, sighing inwardly. I'm so unlucky. I can't even earn my salary in peace. Suddenly, the phone rang. Ingji exclaimed, "Crap, it's the old master." He answered the phone, his voice a little scared. "Old master, is something the matter?" A very stern voice came from the other end. "Tell the young master to come home immediately." One bright morning, in a quiet coffee shop, Su Jinhuan was stirring her coffee when she heard a group of people gossiping, mentioning her name. That little Su Jinhuan really doesn't know what's good for her. Those people didn't notice her sitting right there and continued. How dare she try to steal the young lady's fiancé? She should take a look at her own status. Exactly. I heard her mother had affairs since she was young. Like mother, like daughter, both are shameless. Zia spoke up. I'm the designated young madam of the whole family. What does she count for? Jinhuan's hand, stirring the coffee, suddenly stopped. By now, she's probably gone to see the king of hell. Another person stammered. See the king of hell. Zia asked unhappily what? That person coughed and replied nothing. A bitch like her deserves to die. The people around immediately agreed, their voices filled with sarcasm. Exactly. A waste of air while alive, a waste of land when dead. The whole table burst into laughter, the dishes clinking softly. Zia stood up and said lightly, I'm going to the restroom. The person next to her mumbled a reply while chewing on a pastry. A girl leaned over slightly, her voice full of insinuation. Do you guys think Zia has already taken care of that Sue girl? The person next to her immediately lowered their voice and whispered. There were a few other female students who confessed to young Master Hua before, but they all vanished later. Su Jinhuan stood up and followed Zia. Her figure quickly disappeared behind the door. In the restroom, the sound of a toilet flushing echoed. Zia was humming a little tune happily, reapplying her lipstick. Suddenly, someone forcefully grabbed her hair. A scream rang out as Jinhuan coldly yanked hard, as if to tear the hair from her scalp. Zia was pushed straight down into the cold water, white foam splashing everywhere. Help! Her cries for help were choked in her throat by the tight grip on her hair. Zia's head was held deep in the water. Strings of bubbles gurgled up as her hands struggled desperately, but with less and less strength. Jinhuan's hand suddenly loosened, her fingers slipping from Zia's drenched hair. Zia coughed violently, mouthfuls of water gushing from her mouth. Her breathing was rapid, interspersed with coughs, her eyes shut tight in terror. As soon as Zia looked up, she glared, her breath still ragged, water droplets still clinging to her face, dripping with every tremor. Behind her, Jinhuan stood silently, her gaze as cold as a knife held to her throat. Jinhuan's hand suddenly grabbed Zia's hair and yanked it back sharply. Her icy voice rang out, word by word. How does it feel to be on the verge of drowning? Jinhuan spoke with hatred, every word like a knife, cutting deep into the fear rising in Zia's eyes. I almost drowned in the sea. Luckily, I was fated to live. I didn't die. God, let me come back to take revenge on you. Zia cried with tears streaming down her face, her voice hoarse, but still trying to roar like a cornered beast. How dare you do this to me? I'll tear you to pieces. I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Su Jinhuan sneered. I've already died once, so I'm not afraid of anything. But you, this rich young lady. Lin Zia trembled in panic. Her pale lips moved, but she couldn't utter a single word. Jinhuan grabbed Zia's still shocked head and slammed it hard against the wall. Her cold voice echoed throughout the space. She said angrily, before I kill you, you should worry about your own life first. Zia's body fell heavily to the ground. Jinhuan grabbed her by the hair and dragged her away. Only the sound of high heels clicking on the floor remained. She didn't let go of Zia until they reached a toilet stall. Su Jinhuan took out her phone, took a few pictures of the unconscious Zia on the floor, and said with disgust, no matter what your status is, once you fall into my hands, you still won't be arrogant. Walking out, she thought, before coming, I used Su Qinghuan's name to message Hua, Xiaoqian, and ask him out. He should be arriving soon. After walking a short distance, she saw a standing figure. It was Xiaoqian. Jinhuan continued to think. He's here. He's probably looking for Su Qinghuan. A slight smile appeared on her lips. She approached and spoke. Xiao Qian, hello, do you remember me? I'm Su Jinhuan, Jinhuan's half-sister. I was the one who asked you out this time. Xiao Qian, realizing it wasn't the person he was looking for, replied with disappointment. It's you. What do you want from me? Su Jinhuan sighed and replied. You previously agreed to donate bone marrow. The person who is a match is my younger brother. She looked at him with pleading eyes, full of worry. I'm begging you, please don't change your mind just because of what others have said. Xiao Qian said in surprise. I've never heard Qinghuan say she has a brother. Jinhuan said anxiously, she and I are half-sisters. That brother is only my brother. He has no blood relation to Qinghuan. If you change your mind, he really doesn't have long to live. Xiao Qian's heart wavered, a flicker of struggle in his eyes. But thinking of what Su Qinghuan had said, he ultimately rejected her firmly. I'm sorry. I've already promised Qinghuan. She said if I save that boy, she won't be with me anymore. Xiao Qian turned to leave. I'm sorry. Jinhuan panicked and blocked him. No, young Master Hua. Her trembling voice echoed in the air, as if clinging to the last shred of hope. Suddenly, a large hand grabbed her arm. She was surprised. Turning her head, she saw a tall, familiar, and extremely handsome figure. Xiao Qian looked at the man and called out in shock. Li Ju. He nodded slightly and continued walking, leaving only one sentence behind. I have something to do. I'll be leaving first. Jinhuan anxiously raised her hand. Wait. The man had already disappeared from sight. She said helplessly, it's over. Li Ju grabbed Jinhuan's hand and dragged her away. She tried to struggle, but it was useless and could only say, let go, don't touch me. Why did you have to show up at this exact moment? Li Ju turned to look directly at Jinhuan and asked, you don't want me to touch you? His face darkened, his eyes cold. Then who do you want to touch you? Jinhuan retorted irritably. You're being so unreasonable. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Suddenly, that large hand was placed on the back of her head. His hand tightened on the nape of her neck, pulling her into a kiss so forceful it left her breathless. Jinhuan's eyes widened, her heart pounding as his hot breath enveloped her. She struggled slightly, only to be held tighter, the overwhelming sensation making her tremble all over. Jinhuan's eyes were wide open, her cheeks burning. Is he crazy doing this in public? Her heart was pounding. She suddenly gathered all her strength and pushed hard against his chest. A decisive move, as if trying to escape the searing embrace that held her tight. Despite being pushed, Li Ju didn't budge. His strong arms tightened again, pulling Jinhuan even closer, his hot breath enveloping her, making her tremble in his inescapable embrace, her heart racing. A group of people walked by, their curious gazes lingering. Isn't that young Master Hua? Oh my god, he's actually kissing a girl in front of so many people. Jinhuan froze, but Li Ju was composed, as if he didn't care at all. Jinhuan gasped for air, her hands on Li Ju's chest, trying to create distance. His warm breath brushed against her skin, and her heart pounded. In the distance, voices calling each other were heard. Zia isn't back yet. Let's go look for her in the restroom. Okay. Jinhuan shyly pushed him away. Everyone is watching. Let go of me. Li Ju looked at her and chuckled softly. That large hand suddenly wrapped around her legs, lifted up unexpectedly. She didn't have time to react and cried out in surprise. She asked, what are you doing, Li Ju? Put me down. He continued walking forward, the sound of leather shoes clicking on the ground. Jinhuan said shyly, her face turning red. Aren't you just giving them more to laugh about like this? The car door slammed open and shut. Li Ju replied, if you make any more trouble. He continued, I'll let them watch something even more exciting. Jinhuan screamed internally, but was helpless. Fine, you win. The group that had just found Zia and was helping her out of the restroom happened to see Su Jinhuan and Li Ju sitting in the car. The group exclaimed, she's over there. Zia stared directly at Jinhuan and hissed, word by word, Su Jinhuan. Su Jinhuan gave her a provocative look and placed her hand on Li Ju's shoulder. She gritted her teeth in anger and scoffed. This damn woman, what right does she have to compete with me? I will surely repay today's humiliation 100-fold. Su Jinhuan shook her phone, which stored the photos of her being beaten in the restroom, and thought, if you dare to provoke me, you'd better be prepared for my revenge. I still have a bunch of your indecent photos and videos in my hands. We'll see who is more disgraced then. The luxury car started and sped away arrogantly. Sitting in the car, Su Jinhuan thought, it's truly a luxury car. It even has a soundproof system in the back. Just as she was thinking, Hualijue's warm hand caressed her face, asking, "What are you looking at?" He continued with a straight face. "Am I not handsome?" Su Jinhuan panicked, turning her head away with a red face. "What are you talking about?" Hualijue smiled, looking down at the shy girl before him, and called out, "Su Jinhuan." He leaned close to her ear, and the warm breath made Su Jinhuan's ears turn red. Hearing this, Su Jinhuan cried out in surprise, "No?" Hualijue pinched her chin and asked, not aloud. His gaze slowly moved down, landing on her full lips, and his hand also gently caressed her, if not with your hands. He paused and continued, "There's a better option." Su Jinhuan glared at him and said, "Hualijue, you're truly a beast." He grabbed her small hand and said, "If I were truly a beast, I wouldn't have put up with you for so long." The luxurious car drove slowly on the road, heavy breathing coming from inside. Hualijue considerately took out a tissue and wiped her hands for her. Both of their faces were flushed. Su Jinhuan said, "The car is getting slower and slower. Assistant Chung will surely look down on me." Hualijue took her hand and kissed it. He wouldn't dare. Meanwhile, in the driver's seat, although there was soundproofing, Assistant Chung could still hear the movements of the two. He could only think helplessly. This mastermind has too much energy and his kidney function is too good. I've already circled the hospital twice and it's still not over. Jinhuan suddenly remembered. Weren't you going home? How did you suddenly end up at the cafe? Lijue pinched her cheek and answered, "You still dare to ask, instead of resting properly in the hospital? You're itching for trouble, aren't you?" He thought to himself, "The moment I got home, I was scolded by the old man." Before I could finish listening, I got a call from a nurse saying Su Jinhuan was missing. The old man must have been furious when I left. And this heartless girl still dares to ask me why I came here. Hualijue asked her seriously, "What exactly is going on between you and my brother? I want to hear your explanation." Su Jinhuan answered, "Hualijue, this is my private matter. I don't want to trouble others with my affairs." She continued seriously, "But I guarantee that there is nothing shameful between me and your brother." He said, "Su Jinhuan, I've said it before, your business is my business. Your needs are my needs. You shouldn't be afraid of troubling me." She shyly pushed his large hand away. "I haven't forgotten what you said before. I do not agree to be your secret lover." Hualijue's gaze softened, and he frowned. "You women are so troublesome. It's been so long, yet you still hold a grudge. Your heart is smaller than the eye of a needle." Su Jinhuan crossed her arms, pouted, and said irritably, "You dog of a man." The car suddenly came to a screeching halt. Su Jinhuan didn't have time to react, let out a cry, and her head hit the car window with a thud. Hualijue was quick to support her by the waist. Hualijue's voice was stern. He yelled, "Chung Yingji, what are you doing?" Assistant Chung was flustered and answered with a worried face, "Young master, I'm sorry, a dog suddenly ran onto the road." Hualijue scolded irritably, "Why are you circling the hospital? Hurry up and find a parking space." Assistant Chung answered awkwardly, Yes. The car pulled into a parking space. Hualijue picked up Su Jinhuan and walked forward quickly. "Rest well, don't disregard your health, and run around everywhere." Meanwhile, Lingli was walking briskly in the hospital, her eyes darting around as if looking for someone. Suddenly, Lingli tripped on a stone, stumbled and was about to fall, but unexpectedly bumped into Ingji's arms. Looking up and seeing Ingji, she was as happy as if she had found her savior. "Assistant Chung, what a coincidence, it's you, this is great." Ingji looked at her, confused, and answered coldly, "What coincidence? I don't know you let go of me." Lingli laughed out loud, deliberately saying loudly, "Assistant Chung is truly a great man who forgets things. I'm Wu Lingli. A few days ago at the cafe, you paid me to pretend to be a pregnant woman and expose that scumbag during a blind date. We worked together very well." Su Jinhuan recognized the familiar voice and struggled in Hualijue's arms. "Huh? Wait a minute." Su Jinhuan got down, "So it was you." She put her hands on her hips and walked towards Lingli, the woman who pretended to be pregnant and slandered me for stealing someone's husband. Su Jinhuan irritably turned back and pointed at the composed Hualijue. "No wonder my blind dates always failed, so it was you pulling the strings. If it weren't for your meddling, I would have been registered for marriage long ago." Hualijue looked down at Su Jinhuan with a half smile, his tone cold yet gentle. "Are you angry?" Su Jinhuan's face turned red, looking at Hualijue, who was watching her with his arms crossed. He said in a somewhat reproachful tone, "Your blind dates were all scumbags. I was saving you from pit of fire." Su Jinhuan raised her index finger, wanting to refute Hua Lijue's twisted logic. So you're saying I should thank you for this? Hua Lijue remained smug. It was what I should do. Su Jinhuan, flustered and angry, stepped forward and pounded Hua Lijue's chest. You domineering, stinking man. At the cafe that day, I was scolded by a shameless pregnant woman for seducing a married man. How are you going to compensate me for my emotional distress? Hua Lijue possessively grabbed Su Jinhuan's wrist. I don't care. He pulled her closer domineeringly. You are my woman. Don't even think I'll watch you go on blind dates with those shady people. Suddenly, a group of tall and burly men ran over, pointing at Lingli and shouting, She's here. You little brat. Let's see where you run now. Pay back the money. If you don't pay, you'll sell your body to pay the debt. Lingli hurriedly grabbed Ingji's arm, holding on tightly, her eyes still on the approaching group of men. Assistant Chung of the Hua family's young master is my boyfriend. Bullying me is bullying him, and bullying him is messing with the Hua family. Hua Lijue instinctively protected Su Jinhuan in his arms. Lingli suddenly pointed at them. Young Master Hua is also here. You'd better think carefully. Ingji hurriedly pushed Lingli away, saying awkwardly, What nonsense are you spouting in front of my boss? I don't even know you. Lingli shouted in panic. Chung Ingji, you're leaving me to die. You're not a man? The group of men had already walked up behind Lingli, the leader cracking his knuckles. You can't run away this time. Suddenly, a loud shout was heard. Wait! Su Jinhuan and Hua Lijue stepped forward to shield Lingli. Su Jinhuan said loudly, This woman dared to steal my man and made me lose face. I must get my revenge. Do you want to compete with me for a man too? The leader took a step back, looking confused. One of his subordinates recognized Hua Lijue and whispered in his boss's ear, Boss, let's forget it. Young Master Hua is over there. The leader took a few steps back and waved at Su Jinhuan. We're just small-time debt collectors. If you want this chick, just take her. Don't be polite. We're leaving. Just as Lingli was about to slip away, a hand pulled her back. Ingji stood behind her, smiling sinisterly. Trying to run? You caused me a lot of trouble. Lingli hurriedly explained to Su Jinhuan. Miss Su, it wasn't my fault last time. You paid me to act. Every debt has its debtor. She bent down, looking at Su Jinhuan pleadingly, trying to explain, but my ex-boyfriend really is a scumbag. He was a freeloader and hit women. I definitely didn't lie to you. If you're really angry, just hit me to vent your anger. Oh, Su Jinhuan took a step forward, standing opposite Lingli. She raised her hand high, smiling with a hint of contempt. You asked for this. Lingli didn't move, closing her eyes tightly, but the pain of a slap didn't come. Instead, she felt her cheek being gently pinched. Lingli's eyes flew open in surprise. She saw Su Jinhuan smiling happily and waving her hand. All right, you can go. If you hadn't exposed that scumbag, I'm afraid I would have already registered for marriage with him. Suddenly, an arm wrapped around Su Jinhuan's waist and a warm voice sounded by her ear. Su Jinhuan. As she looked up, Hua Lijue's handsome face came into view. You're still thinking about getting married? Hua Lijue turned Su Jinhuan around. Let's go. You should go back and rest. Su Jinhuan protested. I'm not done talking yet. Hey, Hua Lijue. But her feet followed him anyway. Suddenly, the phone rang. Su Jinhuan struggled. I have a call, let me go. The screen showed the nurse's name. Su Jinhuan felt a little uneasy. It's Xiao Yuan's nurse. She put the phone to her ear to answer, her voice trembling slightly. Hello, Nurse Ning. Nurse Ning was standing in a hospital room. She spoke quickly and urgently. Miss Su, Xiao Yuan's condition has suddenly worsened. He's being rescued in the operating room now, and his life is in danger. Please come to the hospital immediately. Su Jinhuan was thunderstruck, subconsciously shouting, What? Su Jinhuan broke free from Hua Lijue's arms and ran anxiously towards the door. I'll be right there. Arriving quickly at the operating room, the red light indicating surgery in progress was on. Su Jinhuan ran forward anxiously. Nurse Ning saw her and said, Miss Su is here. She asked Nurse Ning, How is my brother? Nurse Ning replied, The doctor is still operating on Xiao Yuan. Nurse Ning said with difficulty, Xiao Yuan started to seem listless yesterday, and today the complications suddenly erupted all at once. His will to live is also very weak. Hearing this, Su Jinhuan swayed, and Hua Lijue supported her. How could this be? Xiao Yuan has always been so strong and optimistic. How could he suddenly? Nurse Ning told her what happened. Yesterday morning, a woman came. She said she was his sister, came to see Xiao Yuan, and left right away. Su Jinhuan was startled, immediately realizing it was Su Qingwan. She was extremely distraught. She clearly knows Xiao Yuan is my bottom line. If anything happens to Xiao Yuan, I will never let her go. Nurse Ning said anxiously, the most important thing now is to help Xiao Yuan find his faith and will to live again. Su Jinhuan grabbed Nurse Ning's hand and said, I understand. Thank you, Nurse Ning. Nurse Ning immediately replied, You're welcome, Miss Su. The sound of high heels echoed in the hospital corridor as Su Jinhuan walked away slightly. She immediately dialed Su Qingwan's number. The phone rang beep, beep, beep. The call connected on the other end. Hello? Su Jinhuan said coldly. Su Qingwan, what did you say to Xiao Yuan? If anything happens to him, I'll drag you down with me, even if it costs me my life. Su Qingwan's face showed no remorse. Instead, she replied contemptuously, I just told the truth. Didn't you once plan to sell yourself at a nightclub to raise money for his medical bills? Su Jinhuan was furious, her voice sounding like it could kill through the phone. Su Qingwan, you're asking for death. Tears of anger and hatred welled up in her eyes. And oh wonder, Xiao Yuan. She felt a wave of dizziness and almost fell, exclaiming, Xiao Yuan. A beep sounded from the phone as Su Qingwan hung up. A large hand supported her weak body. Hua Lijue pulled her gently into his arms. Don't be afraid, Su Jinhuan. Trust your brother. He'll be fine. His hand clasped hers tightly, as if to give her a sense of security. He said, I will wait here with you. Su Jinhuan cried, burying her face in Hua Lijue's chest, and replied, The light in the operating room went out, indicating the surgery was over. Su Jinhuan anxiously ran to the doctor and asked, Doctor, how is my brother? Xiao Yuan was wheeled out on a hospital bed. The doctor said, the rescue was successful, but the patient's will to live is very weak. He is still in a coma. The family should call out to him by his ear more often. The doctor continued, Miss Su, you probably know that the patient's condition is getting worse. I estimate he may have less than half a year left. Su Jinhuan trembled all over. Her face darkened, and she covered her mouth, crying out, Xiao Yuan. Hua Lijue supported the trembling Su Jinhuan, and he asked the doctor, is there no other way? The doctor replied helplessly, apart from finding a matching bone marrow, there's no other way. In the special care unit, the machine beeped, and a voice echoed in the air. Xiao Yuan, how could you believe her words? Su Jinhuan sat by the bed, holding her brother's hand tightly. Every penny your sister earns is clean. Your sister has tried so hard to take care of herself. Why would you give up on life so easily? She trembled, her eyes shut tight, sobbing uncontrollably. After Mom passed away, you were my only family. How could you bear to leave me all alone? Hua Lijue's hand rested gently on Su Jinhuan's shoulder to comfort her. She thought to herself, even when I was pushed to a dead end before, I never agreed to sell my body for money. Seeing her so sad, he also felt terrible and his heart ached for her, but he didn't know what to say. He could only say in his heart, Su Jinhuan, how did you carry all this alone all these years? Hua Lijue suddenly spoke, Xiao Yuan. He continued, do you think death is a release? You will only make your sister suffer more. Hua Lijue frowned, his eyes serious. Even if it's just for your sister, you have to fight through this. Su Jinhuan couldn't hold back her tears and said, trembling, Xiao Yuan, Su Qingwan's words are all lies. If you believe her, you've fallen into her trap. She gripped the boy's hand tightly. Xiao Yuan, wake up. Suddenly, the boy's fingers twitched slightly. Su Jinhuan shouted happily, Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan's hand just moved. Xiao Yuan frowned, showing a pained expression after the surgery. The boy opened his eyes, his voice weak and strained. Sister? Seeing her brother awake, Su Jinhuan cried tears of joy. She said excitedly, Xiao Yuan, I'm here. Xiao Yuan was confused to see his sister crying and asked, Sister, why are you crying like a painted-faced cat? Su Jinhuan laughed. You little rascal, teasing your sister as soon as you wake up. She followed her brother's gaze and only then remembered the man standing behind her. Huh? Xiao Yuan asked, who is he to you? Su Jinhuan awkwardly jumped up to explain. What do you mean, who is he to me? He is Hua Lijue. Hua Lijue quickly put his arm around Su Jinhuan's shoulder and introduced himself. Hello, Xiao Yuan. He said with a confident smile, my name is Hua Lijue, and I am currently your sister's boyfriend. If she agrees, I will soon become her husband. You can call me brother-in-law." Su Jinhuan blushed and nudged him lightly, saying awkwardly, "When did I give you that title?" Huo Lijue said unexpectedly, "Su Jinhuan, what do you mean by that? Are you planning to sleep with me and then run away?" Su Jinhuan's face turned as red as a tomato. She hit him, saying, "Goodness, why are you saying these things in front of child?" Lying on a hospital bed, Xiao Yuan watched the two flirt and asked his sister curiously, "Sister, I saw on TV that only married couples can sleep together. You and brother-in-law slept together. So does that mean you're already married?" Huo Lijue wrapped his arms around Su Jinhuan's waist, pulling her into his embrace. Even Xiao Yuan knows that only married couples can sleep together. "Are you still trying to shirk responsibility?" He whispered in her ear. "That night, we fought passionately until dawn, without using any contraception." The more Huo Lijue talked, the more embarrassed Su Jinhuan became. "Who knows? Maybe we already have a baby." "That's enough. Stop talking." Afterwards, he turned around and said seriously to the boy, "Xiao Yuan, with me protecting your sister, you can focus on getting better." However, Xiao Yuan was still a little worried. Huo Lijue gently stroked the boy's hair. "You can't miss our wedding." Xiao Yuan replied with effort. Su Jinhuan lowered her head, her voice gentle. "Xiao Yuan, I will never leave you, and don't you give up either, okay?" The boy replied tiredly, "I won't make you sad again." Seeing Xiao Yuan's fatigue, he turned around and said, "Xiao Yuan just woke up and needs to rest. Let's go back first." She was still a bit hesitant, but seeing this, the boy spoke to reassure her. "Go back. Don't worry about me." In the end, Su Jinhuan had to leave. "Then rest well, I'll come back tomorrow." The door to the hospital room closed, and Xiao Yuan's expression became unusually heavy. The boy looked at his arm, full of needle marks, his feelings extremely complicated. "Even if I made it through today, I probably don't have many days left." Xiao Yuan imagined Su Jinhuan in a wedding dress. "Sister, I don't want to die either. I want to attend your wedding. I want to see your baby born." The boy felt immense guilt, but my being alive is too much of a burden for you. Two streams of tears slid from the corners of Xiao Yuan's eyes. "Sister, you must be happy." At night, in the hospital, Su Jinhuan was walking, but her heart was still restless. Suddenly, she crouched down, sobbing uncontrollably. "Xiao Yuan, Xiao Yuan." Seeing this, Huo Lijue worriedly held her. Su Jinhuan. He gently helped Su Jinhuan to her feet. With his warmth, Huo Lijue comforted her softly. "This road hasn't reached its end yet. What are you crying for?" Nestled in his arms, Su Jinhuan's tears fell ceaselessly. Huo Lijue gently lowered his head and kissed her forehead. Feeling that warmth, she clutched his clothes tightly, and her spirit began to stabilize. "That's right." Su Jinhuan lifted her head and said resolutely, "I still have revenge to take. This is not the time to cry." She silently noted in her heart, "Su Qingwan, don't think I will let you go.